All right, guys, welcome back to Remotely Wasted. This is our week 9 episode of college football. We got the college football playoff rankings pulled up. We're just a day after those have been announced. Normally, what we do is we start the episode off from the bottom of the top 25, but this week we're just going to start right at the top, give you like our opinions on what we think the top six should be, and then kind of react to what the committee has chosen. Let us know in the comments who your top six are. But yeah, we'll just hop right into that. Who
Mine's
you got
mine's
at number six?
mine's pretty similar to what they got going. I do got a few changes, but I got Oregon at six.
Oregon at six. So
I think out of the one loss teams, they probably have like the best loss. Um, Texas lost to OU, Bama lost to Texas, another one loss team. OU just lost to Kansas, Ole Miss lost to
Bama.
Bama, right? Yeah. Penn State lost to Ohio State. So that's a decent loss, I guess. Missouri lost to Ole Miss, and then
LSU. LSU.
LSU, and then
Yep.
Louisville lost to.
Duke. No,
No,
was
they
it
just
Duke?
beat Duke. Who the
Yeah, they
fuck
just
did they
beat
lose
Duke.
to? No, they lost to
Pitt. They lost to
Pitt
Pitt.
somehow.
Yeah,
So
they lost to
you know,
Pitt somehow.
out of
I
out
mean,
of the one
Oregon's
loss
coming off
teams,
a pretty good a good win against
yeah,
Utah. That's a really good defense that they scored 35 on. I went with I went kind of the opposite way. I went Bama at six
okay,
because I think they have one of the better wins against Ole Miss out of the one loss teams. Oregon doesn't really have a win that can compare to that. I don't
yeah,
think. I mean, you could compare the Utah one, but Ole Miss is a lot healthier of a team than Utah is, and Bama got that win. I mean, their loss is only to Texas, who's ranked 7. So I
yeah,
don't think it's a bad loss, but I mean, I think you can
not at all.
interchange probably Oregon and Bama at this point. I think as far as like Texas, I think Texas and Oklahoma should be a little. I think Texas should be lower, and I think Oklahoma is rated appropriately. But yeah, I got Bama at 6. So you got at number 5.
Washington, out of the undefeateds, they've looked like the weakest so far. They're starting to kind of slow down a little bit. Compared to everybody else is starting to pick up. Yeah, they do got maybe the biggest win, single win against no, they didn't. Yeah, they beat Oregon. Sorry, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I think they probably have like the single biggest win so far. Um, and then yeah, like I said, they're just not looking as good as they were. They're kind of trending down a little bit,
Yeah, they haven't looked
but
very good the
they're
past
still
couple of
winning.
weeks.
So
Yeah, I mean they squeaked one out against Stanford the week before. They squeaked one out against Arizona State.
yeah,
So
they
if you're
did.
if you're more of like an eye test person, they're definitely
Not
on the
looking,
lower end of the
not looking
rankings.
so good.
I'm sticking with my resume philosophy. So I got Michigan at 5. They have the
Yeah,
111th ranked strength of schedule,
their
and
schedule
they're on
is
a bye too.
fucking terrible. And,
They,
and they've cheated, so
yeah, there's that whole, and that keeps getting crazier and crazier. I
it
don't know if you
does.
saw the video of or the picture of allegedly it could be Connor Stallions on the sideline at a Central Michigan
Next
versus
to the
Michigan State
coordinator.
game. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, why would
that's
he?
so,
Why would he be right there? You know what I mean? Like, he's not any type of coordinator. He's a scout dude.
well, and why is he on Central Michigan sideline in Central Michigan gear? I mean, it might not be him, but the fact that Central Michigan came out and said they're investigating it, I feel
Yeah,
like if they knew who it was, they'd be like, "Oh, that's not Connor Stallions. That's
yeah.
our running back coach, or whoever."
The fact that they don't know who that is like a little like. And then how the fuck did he get on the sideline? Like their sideline. Nobody was like, hey, who the fuck's this guy?
That Michigan money probably pays somebody off. Let me on the sideline. Give
I
me a
mean, it is
pass.
Central Michigan. They probably don't give a fuck. So let's be real. Okay,
Central Michigan involved in this.
couple thousand, I'd be like, fuck it. You could stand behind me. I don't give a shit. I mean, that person's gonna get him though. They'll follow that paper trail if that's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if that actually was him. I mean, I looked at the picture, like it looks really similar. I just the nose of the guy just looked maybe a little different to me. The
I, I've
ears are the
seen
exact same.
I've seen another picture, and that's what I thought you was talking about of him like standing next to, I think it was the offensive coordinator, like on the sideline.
Oh, are you talking about when he was calling out the signals like on
Yeah,
Michigan sideline?
Yeah, like why the fuck's he standing next to the coordinator? Like he's not a coach in any form or fashion.
Yeah, he's a recruiting analyst, I think, is what his
Why the
job
fuck's he even
title
on
is.
the sideline?
Yeah, he was just calling out signals. Yeah, that came out like
Yeah,
pretty quick, and it just keeps getting worse and worse every day.
yeah.
The info that's coming out on that. I mean, you could hold that against Michigan if you want.
Oh, and I'm gonna.
I'm not so much holding that as much as they haven't played anybody. They have the 111th ranked schedule. So yeah, that's why I got them at 5. Who are you rolling with at number 4?
Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the only reason I have them above Washington is because they've just been so dominant in everything that they've played. But there's like a weird asterisk next to like all those wins. Basically, it's like is every game? Do they know what everybody's calling on each side of the ball? It kind of looks like it. Like yeah, they're a good team. They're a very good team, but
No, but I mean, like, if you know everybody's signals like
there's
that
a reason
well,
why they're blowing everybody out
yeah, like maybe these wins wouldn't be quite as dominant if they didn't know like basically the plays before they were getting called. That's a huge
on
advantage.
offense and defense.
Both sides of the ball, and you had like
Yeah,
possibly weeks to study the signals, so you know
exactly.
almost immediately. It's not like yeah, you caught on halfway through the game, like oh, this signal means this. That's perfectly legal. But yeah, it's just getting worse and worse of a look for Michigan. But yeah, I can see why people have them ranked 4. Um, or some people have them 4, some people have them 3, some people have them 1. Um,
It's fucking. You should be shot if you have them one.
there's a lot of people out there. If you're just solely an eye test person, people got Michigan at number 1.
I guess. Yeah.
I went with Georgia at number 4. Their strength of schedule is 100th
Yeah.
in the
Not good.
country. They
Not good
do
at
have
all.
some better wins in my opinion. Florida, that was a pretty good win, and then that Kentucky win was a pretty good one as well.
Yeah,
At the
yeah, and they
time at
won. They
least.
won handedly. They did blow them out. But I mean, Kentucky looked good until they got into this game. They haven't looked good since. Who have they even played? Um, Pretty much nobody. They've lost all their good games.
Yeah, anybody good they play, they've gotten
So
beat by.
obviously Kentucky's not good, and then Florida is absolutely trash. Lost to Utah, so they somehow beat Tennessee. I don't. It's a rivalry, I guess. I don't know. South Carolina sucks. They barely beat them. Get blown out to Georgia. They probably lose to Arkansas. They probably lose all 4 of these games.
Yeah,
They might
Florida's
not
not a
make a
good
they
look.
might not make a bowl game.
I mean that's definitely a
So
possibility.
I wouldn't really, be banging the drums on this one for the Georgia win. Yeah, it's a rivalry win. It's cool, but Ford ain't been good in a hot bit. That's not even really a competition in this game. Like you even got Tebow picking Georgia over Florida in this game, so that's kind of saying something.
Yeah. And I mean, Georgia has looked in their defense. They have started to look pretty good. They looked pretty good without Bowers.
Yeah, yeah,
Their
they did.
first real test is this weekend against Missouri.
I'm excited
Um,
for it. If they
Maybe
beat
Missouri could
Missouri,
do
like
it.
if they beat them, by I would say at least 10, I'll be convinced they're good. They're a good team. Like okay, I know they're a good team. I'll be convinced they're a great team like they have been.
Yeah. And one, if Missouri gets the win, you got to have a conversation about Missouri being one of the top one loss teams at that
Missouri
point, with
would
their
be the
only
top one
loss.
loss team. Like that would be the biggest win.
Yeah, it would be the biggest win. So, I mean, how far do they go up after that is, kind of the question.
I, Obviously Georgia would fall out, and I would say Missouri takes 5.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems perfectly reasonable. They should jump every one loss team, and then Georgia should fall behind them, and then maybe put Georgia 6, depending on how bad they lose. You slide Missouri right there. Maybe you have Georgia either behind Oregon or right there ahead of them behind Missouri. Kind of depending on how bad they lose.
I wouldn't
Uh,
be surprised if they only moved up to like 7 or 8, just because of
yeah.
how big just the national sports media seems to be on Oregon this season.
For some reason, yeah,
Like they're
fucking
acting
four.
like Oregon's like the best team, one of the best teams. Like they're acting like according to this ranking, they're the best one loss team, and I don't think they are.
I mean, I think Oregon beats Texas, even with Quinn, like a healthy Quinn Ewers. I don't know about Bama. I think that'd be a really good game. I mean, OU, based on how they looked last week, they would probably win that game. I don't know about Ole Miss. I haven't really watched enough of them, but that fucking offense scores a lot of points. Penn
Yeah.
State, they're blowing Penn State's doors completely off. Penn State might not even score in that game. And then Missouri, we just haven't really seen them play anybody good. So who knows? They probably beat Louisville. So there's only like two teams up there that they might not really kind of beat.
I mean,
So
I have to see them. I don't know, redeem their loss to Washington, or let's
yeah,
see what they look like against USC. Granted, USC is not looking too hot, but they really haven't played any like the
yeah,
best
they
like
they
team
haven't.
played is Utah. The best win they have is against Utah, and
They
Utah.
did play Washington really close. So
Yeah, I mean that is true. That
their
is
one
true.
loss is
Looking at
not by,
Washington,
yeah, it's,
like it is like I don't know.
yeah.
The Pac-12 is kind of a mystery right now, still, because
Washington took a job a game any weekend at this point.
yeah, I mean that's how it's looking. I actually have Washington as my number three, just based off my resume. Thing I have to stick to the whole season.
Yeah.
Basically, they've really not looked good the past couple weeks. But I mean, they do have a
Yeah, they
good
got
win
some
against
solid
Oregon.
wins. That
Arizona's looking
Arizona
like a good
wins
win.
exactly. I was really happy they beat Oregon State. I'm happy for Arizona. They're looking like a good team. They've pretty much handled everybody up until that point, and then their schedule started to get hard. This Arizona State, like, Arizona State's a bad team on paper, but I don't think they're that bad. They've played every team almost really close. Like, that's a trap team. That's 100% a trap team. And it was raining that game, so I'll give them a little bit of slack for it being so close. But this one, I don't know about this. Like, because Stanford, they got their shit blown out by UCLA, and then they got blown out by Oregon. So why is Washington not blowing them out?
Yeah, exactly.
And
And I mean that the best thing they've done this year
and
is
they
that
got blown out by
Colorado win.
USC.
Yeah, USC, and USC is not good at all, really.
Yeah, they only scored 10 on them.
And honestly, Stanford could have won this game. I don't know if you saw like the end of the
I
game.
didn't.
There was a so Stanford had the ball. They were down. I think it was probably the same score as the final score. It was a 4th and 2. They went for it. Did a little double pass thing. The
Everybody in the
running back
fucking
threw the
double
run.
pass.
It like he threw it right to the guy, and the guy just dropped it.
I don't
And
I don't
that's
get the
how that's
double
how they
pass.
lost.
Like double pass in like game winning situations. People keep trying this shit. 2-point conversions, like UCF against OU. I think it's happened another time. And then this one, like what are we doing?
Yeah, this
It's
has been a weird year where the double pass is like really popular, even though it's not
even in
really
the NFL, like
working.
it's not as popular in the NFL, but I have seen it a few times.
I mean, it's something you pull out maybe earlier in the game to get the momentum on your side. I don't think it's
Yeah,
something
yeah.
you do with the game on the line.
Maybe picking up like a third, third and medium in like the red zone, try to catch them off guard. They're thinking you just going for the first down when you're really just trying to take the top off with a wide receiver throwing the ball or something. Okay, sure.
Well, it's a
Sure.
weird thing because like, why would you want to put the ball in the hands of somebody who doesn't normally throw it in
And
like a
unless you
critical
got a guy
situation?
on your team that can really throw like really well, but even then, like by the time that ball gets to them, the defense is already normally pressuring pretty quick, especially if they got a fast perimeter.
Yeah,
I guess it really kind of depends on who you're playing, but and if they see it coming, it's just not gonna work. They're already on him by the time the ball gets there. He's like this and just getting smoked.
yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, these two wins are starting to look a little weird for Washington. The schedule don't get any easier for them. Yeah,
All
they
four of
could
those
they
games
could lose
are
it all four.
losable.
Yeah, and if they keep playing like this, they will probably lose. They could definitely lose this weekend. It just depends. Does USC's defense get one stop? It's kind of all they need. One stop because the offense can score most of the time.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's getting to. Is like all USC needs to do is
Is get
just
a
stop
stop.
it one or two times and
Yeah,
right in the game.
I think if
Unfortunately, they haven't been able to do it. Alex Grinch still has his job. I think it's just because that's not a change you probably want to make in the middle of the year
yeah,
because You're just gonna promote somebody under him.
they're still kind of competing for the Pac-12, kind of.
Yeah, I'm rooting for USC. Surprisingly, just because they can knock off teams that are in the way of my team. So
That's fair.
and they're not gonna get in the playoffs. So it's a
That is
win-win for
fair.
me.
Yeah, if they knock off teams behind us and we somehow drop a game, it just helps us out too. So by all means, I don't want Washington to lose. I have that bet going. So if they can make the playoffs, I'm cashing that shit out. Because the way they've looking, they're not winning the championship. I'm just praying they at least make the playoff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at this moment though, nobody really looks dominant. Like I feel like whoever gets in the playoffs, it could be besides Michigan. And then we'll see what Michigan looks like when they finally play Penn State. Like, do they dominate Penn
Yeah,
State?
Penn State fucking sucks. Did
They
you
have the
watch?
second best defense in the country, though.
Yeah, but they can't fucking move the ball on offense. Did you see Indiana fucking shitting on them on offense?
Yeah,
They
I did
they
see
were
that.
scoring on them. Penn State got lucky. They got really lucky.
A
How
hangover
there's
game.
yeah, three in a row? Like, come on. Their offense is terrible. That's arguably one of the worst offenses in the top 25. I would say they might have the worst offense in the top 25. Air Force might have a better offense than they do. Maybe not. That's a little bit of a stretch, but Tulane, yeah, maybe. Kansas State, probably not. But
Utah's kind of hit or miss on offense. Sometimes
yeah,
they're really bad.
so
Sometimes they're
like
all right.
maybe 21 down in Utah. Everybody else better on offense.
Oh
The
yeah.
It's not even close. It's not even close. They're getting their shit blown the fuck out, especially if Michigan already knows their signs and they haven't switched them yet, or if they're similar to what they were running when, and then the shit Michigan has, they're gonna figure it out. It's not gonna be close. It's not gonna be close at all. I don't think. Yeah, that Penn State's gonna be at home. That might be the only thing that keeps them in the game, or their defense is able to get a turnover or a defensive touchdown. But I I don't see it. I don't see it at all. But
I think
coming
it's an
into the
actual
year,
possibility.
I was really high on Penn State. I was like, Penn State's beating one of the two of them. I think I was saying that they was going to beat Ohio State. Didn't happen. It was close, but there's just no way, no way, unless McCarthy gets hurt. That's realistically the only way it happens. I'm gonna go out and say now.
I think uh I think Michigan wins, but I think it's a possibility Penn State could pull off the upset.
I hope
One,
so.
because it's at home. Two, because this is a really, really late point in the season for your team to like if you're Michigan to finally play like this is
Yeah,
gonna be such a jump up in competition based off
it's
what they've already played.
it's the same thing that happened in Penn State when they rolled into playing Ohio State. They weren't ready.
Yeah, when you play all these, powder puff games and then you face somebody who's actually halfway decent,
Yeah.
it's a big wake up call. That's why I'm in favor of teams just schedule that tough opponent
I
like
will say
immediately.
like it's not all entirely on Michigan that the Big Ten has like the fucking worst offensive teams in FBS. Like, yeah, it is their fault that they scheduled these three games back to back to back. Like, what are you doing here? Take one of them out and maybe get a mid out of conference game, somebody that's decent, a 500 team maybe, that plays good teams, but these teams fucking suck. All of them. They have no offense. Not a single one of these teams plays a lick of offense. And that's why they didn't get scored against. And they also know what they're gonna fucking run. So that also doesn't help. Purdue, barely a football team. Yeah, these three games they got a tough three at the end of the season. And I don't think that's really good for Michigan, like you're saying, because they're gonna roll into that, not playing anybody, and anything can happen. But it's not all their fault because the Big Ten is just
No, Big Ten is
not a good
probably
offensive
the worst
conference.
offensive conference in the Power Five for sure. I don't think there's a worse offensive conference in the Power Five than the Big Ten. I mean, like, yeah, you got your main
ACC
like
maybe as a
ACC,
collective maybe,
but
but
I mean,
I
you
don't.
still got some good offensive team.
Yeah,
Like
there's a couple, but compared, but then you got Big Ten's got Ohio State, Michigan. and Maryland. Rutgers is okay. That might be it. I'm not considering Penn State a good offense. They're bottom two and not number two.
Yeah, I mean they're not a very good offense from what we've seen so far. I
Yeah,
hope Drew Aller could
I do too. I like.
can bounce back.
I don't hate Penn State. I'm hating on Penn State, but I don't hate Penn State. I actually root for them a good bit. If I was gonna pick a team to win the Big Ten, I would 100% prefer it be Penn State. Just being honest, but they're it's not looking like it, and they playing terrible offense.
Yeah,
Um,
so far. Who do you have at number three?
I got FSU. No, I got Ohio State 3. Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
just because they look bad against Wisconsin and
and Penn State. Granted, they might have the better win collective compared to us. I'll just because I got Georgia 1. That's to be expected with me, I
based on the
guess.
rule you made for
Based on
yourself.
I've talked myself into that, so I ain't coming off of it. So I was tossing Florida State, Ohio State, 2 to 3. Yeah, granted, Michigan's played better than us. As a whole, they've looked dominant, but they have played nobody. Ohio State's the only other undefeated team that has similar, strength of schedule and what the strength of record. But their last 2 games, Penn State at home, they barely win against this dreadful offense that went like 1 for fucking 13 on third down. Like, how do you only score 20? Okay, yeah, if they have a really good defense, whatever. But Kyle McCord's not playing that well. They are lucky they got Marvin Harrison. If they don't have Marvin Harrison, they probably lose this game. And they could have lost this game too if Wisconsin had a quarterback. They're on their backup quarterback.
Yeah, Kyle McCord actually played pretty bad. He threw 2 interceptions against Wisconsin. Wisconsin just cannot get anything going on
No,
offense. They had a really good shot through most of the game to win, and they
it
just
was
couldn't
close.
do anything. They just couldn't do anything on offense. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
They could have won that game, but alas, no offense again. Rutgers, no offense. That's a blowout. Michigan State, blowout. Minnesota, blowout. And then they're gonna roll into the road on against Michigan, which eh, I don't know. There's no fucking telling who wins that game because Michigan's gonna start playing their tough teams. Ohio State's already had some good games to kind of get their team going, but McCord's like a big question mark for them. So if he has a bad game, they're probably gonna lose. And then
I
they
really
could
don't
both
know who's going that
they
one.
could both come into this game with a loss. Maybe it depends. Is McCord just have a bad game on one of these teams and somehow they find a way to win? Probably not. But
I
if
think Rutgers is there like out of these like
only
before
chance,
Michigan, that's the
the only
only one
chance.
that even has a possibility, and I think they still probably
Yeah.
win
So
that one.
Michigan could come into this game with a loss, and then Ohio State could lose this game, and they're both sitting there with one loss. That's very likely. Very likely. Excuse me. So that's the only reason I have Ohio State at 3. It's just lately they've kind of stalled out a little bit when everybody is starting to pick up steam.
Yeah, so I went with Florida State at 2, then Ohio State at 1. Yeah, I mean they both have pretty good resumes. That's why, I have Florida State at 2. The LSU win is looking better week by week. The Clemson win is pretty much
As
no, there's no
Yeah,
value to it anymore.
that's a moral victory for us. I still stick by it. I've explained it before, but it on paper it means nothing.
And then the Duke win at the time looked good, but then Riley Leonard played last week against Louisville and they got shut out.
They still hurt
So,
though.
so yeah, I mean he's still hurt, but
They did
in
get
the
shut out.
grand
Yeah,
scheme of things, it doesn't look very
100%.
good for
I feel it.
Florida State's schedule. But Florida State has looked pretty dominant the past few weeks. Uh, aside from the Duke game, but I mean they beat Georgia Tech. Was it 41-16? Beat or not Georgia Tech, Wake Forest.
Yeah,
Syracuse beat it pretty good. Virginia Tech beat them pretty good. So they've been on it, and then Duke at the time was looking like a pretty good team, and they still beat them by 18.
yeah.
So
We're starting to
it's
pick
looking
up
good.
steam. If we should be blowing this Pitt team out of the fucking water. Notre Dame was like 51-7 or something like that. If we don't have a similar scoreline, I'll dock myself. I'll dock my own team. I'll drop my team to like 4 probably after that. I think it's a good I mean, it's actually not a good game for us. This game really doesn't fucking matter for us. Um, Miami don't like none of these games matter for us in the and record wise. Like we just need a win. Like none of these games are gonna help us move up the rankings. We just have to blow them out, really.
Yeah, the ACC championship's the next one that'll really like
Yeah.
boost the resume.
So we just gotta
Um,
win. We could win by one all of these games, and I think we could still make it as long as we win the ACC championship. So
yeah, I don't think Florida State should be four.
I don't
I was
either.
watching Joel Klatt this morning because he was talking about the playoff rankings, and he was talking about how inconsistent the committee was on these rankings. Like, okay, you pick Ohio State number one because of the resume,
And
but
why are we a four?
you pick Georgia and Michigan based off the eye test.
Yeah, and
So,
then you got us sitting at four.
and then he was talking about like how head to heads shouldn't matter, but they really don't at all. Because he was like, okay, if you really want to order 7, 8, and 9, he was like, Oklahoma beat Texas, put them ahead of Texas. Texas beat Bama, put Texas ahead of Bama, and rank it that way.
Yep.
It based on how they ranked number one. He said that's not how he would do it, but like based on their own logic,
They're just inconsistent
they're
throughout the
they're
entire thing.
inconsistent the whole way,
They really don't give a
down.
shit other than, top six. They don't care.
Well, then he was making a because the Air Force was like 17 in the AP poll, and they're 25
Yeah.
in the playoff rankings, and he was like, Air Force has like a similar strength of schedule to Michigan and Georgia,
Yeah, why ain't they up
with
here?
less of a talent gap.
Yeah.
Like,
If that's the case, they should be at six. Like, you know what I mean?
or at least like where the AP had them like bottom teens. Like you got them at 25 when they don't have like a worse strength of schedule than Michigan.
Yeah. I think
You can't
OU's
make that
only
argument.
I think OU's only being punished because they lost to an unranked team.
Yeah, well now they're ranked. They're 21 now.
Yeah, they
So
are now,
that's
so
looking good.
that helps. And they could definitely win out.
And OSU's ranked 22, so that also helps OU a lot
Yeah.
going into this week. K State being ranked helps Texas a lot if
Helps you
Texas could pull
helps
off
you
that
guys
win.
too. I mean, the more Big 12 teams are ranked, the better, realistically.
Yeah, so there's
It makes the
there's a lot
conference
going
as a
for it.
whole look better.
So we'll get into the bottom half, and we'll talk about OU. We'll jump to Heisman top five real quick.
Yeah,
Get
might
that
as well.
addressed. Um,
We might have a similar five. I mean, we're kind of running out of
it's like a musical chairs. I feel like.
on like 2 to 5 really. Like I feel like one's still Penix for the most
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
So somehow people have JJ McCarthy number one. It fucking blows my mind, but whatever. He's not a Heisman winner. He's especially if they know what the fuck the defense is gonna call. Like how it doesn't make any sense. Stop
No, I
fucking
don't.
voting for him. Like he's obviously there's this huge ass question mark on this team. Like he shouldn't even be in the fucking five, but I'll give him a little bit of credit. That's the only reason that Michigan's in my top six when he's in my Heisman rankings. That's it. Because
Yeah,
it's not, completely confirmed yet, but it doesn't really look good.
no, it doesn't. So at five, I went with I got a newcomer at five. I
Okay.
have Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State. Um, he is leading the country in rushing yards, just a little under 1,100.
That's
He's
crazy.
seventh in the country in rushing touchdowns, and he has a receiving one on top of that. He's coming off a 272
He's
yard
200
performance.
his last 2 games.
Yeah, look at that. Four
He's
touchdowns against West Virginia.
he is probably the only reason that Oklahoma State is have won these games because that quarterback sucks.
He's like the reincarnation of Barry Sanders, and he's
He,
only a sophomore.
he's fucking cooking.
Like if he could
Yeah,
get a win against
116 receiving yards against Kansas.
like if he has a game like he had the past 2 weeks against Oklahoma and Oklahoma State wins, you
Yeah, you
gotta
guys are
like
fucked.
you gotta start having a conversation about him in the Heisman
Oh
race.
yeah, absolutely. He's kind of in the Jayden Daniels boat. They got 2 losses. That's kind of the thing. Like if they were undefeated, he might be number two.
Yeah,
And he didn't even start. Like he wasn't even playing all year, right? He didn't start really running the ball till week 4. Like that's fucking nuts.
And he's
He's
leading the country like with like
it was,
that's crazy.
I think what was he playing? Is he playing defense? Is he on defense?
I don't not as far as I know. Um, but I mean, imagine if he played those first 3 games. Like OSU might be undefeated.
Yeah, okay, so he's
Besides
average.
besides Iowa State, I guess.
He's went over 100 every game since he's actually started getting, a lot of carries. Yeah, this Arizona State one, like, yeah, okay, Arizona State's giving everybody problems, so that one, sure, whatever. But 7 carries, like, get them in the ball. The dude's a goat. He's cooking. Let him cook.
He is in my opinion almost single-handedly turned around their season.
Oh,
It was looking
absolutely.
like OSU was on like just like they're gonna have to fire Gundy.
Yeah,
They were just
mid-season.
like it was looking really really like it looked like they were maybe gonna win 3 games, and now they are in a 4 or 5 way tie for first place in the Big 12 right now.
If they beat
Uh,
OU this weekend, they'll be right up there at the top.
they're going to they're working their way towards a trip to Arlington if they beat
Yeah,
OU.
I'm getting more scared for you guys every week, and after last week, man, I don't fucking know. This game could be a coin flip.
Yeah, I'll have a lot to say once we, kind of once we
Yeah,
get
once we
around to
get there,
OU. I got some
for sure, for
rants to
sure.
go on.
But yeah,
Um,
that's a really good pick. I wasn't even tracking him. I knew he was good, but I wasn't tuned into Ollie Gordon.
well, I
So
didn't know like until like I knew he was having big games. Then when I looked at his season stats and I was like, he's first in the country in rushing yards. Like that is crazy to me.
yeah, how mad do you think Texas is that this dude plays for fucking OSU?
They probably didn't even look at him. That's
No,
usually
they probably
how
did.
like OU and Texas overlook so many people, and then they just go somewhere random and then
Oh,
have like a huge game.
I think they should change this from birthplace to like where they played high school football at, because like birthplace really don't fucking matter. Like you could be born in Texas but playing high school football in fucking Vermont. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
shit doesn't matter. Like if he's playing fucking football in Vermont, Texas, of course isn't gonna be looking at him. But if he's playing high school football in Fort Worth, like I don't know why they weren't, unless he maybe just all of a sudden just blossomed into a superstar, which happens all the time.
yeah, it's a strong possibility. So I'm assuming you have a Jayden Daniels at 5.
Yeah, he,
He's my
he's
4. He's my
he,
4.
he's
He's
still
one
he's
of them.
still going crazy. The only knock on him is they got 2 losses, but the 2 losses that they have, yeah, we kind of beat the shit out of them, and then they had a really close loss against Ole Miss. So take that with what you want. But the dude's going crazy. Like he's averaging 3 touchdowns a game basically. He's really not throwing a lot of interceptions. It looks like they're kind of getting the sacks under control. His QBR is super consistent.
Second in the nation in QBR.
He runs the ball pretty well. Got a lot of rushing touchdowns. So he's 25 total passing touchdowns with 5. So he's sitting at
Up to
30
30.
total. Like
As far as I know, he's the only quarterback with 30 total touchdowns. Because I don't think anybody else is, ran and thrown
Penix has
for as
24, I
many.
think. Yeah. So if he didn't have 2 losses, like if he had 1 loss, I'd probably have him at 1, realistically. Like if he only lost to us first game of the year, I would probably have him at number 1. But the 2 losses really kind of hamper him. But if he beats Bama this weekend, the 2 losses don't matter at that point. That's because that's a huge win for LSU. That's a huge win for them. They could lose every game after that, and that would be a win for the season for them.
The more
Um,
and more I look at him, the more like I'm starting to be convinced that he should win the Heisman.
I didn't think he was good last year. I was like, this dude sucks. And he didn't have a great year last year. But this year, like this dude's terrifying. He's electric.
Like if some of these like undefeated teams drop just one game, I think you got to start moving him ahead of them.
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
Michigan loses to Penn State or Ohio State.
See
That
ya.
see JJ McCarthy.
That's like Dylan Gabriel. He's gone.
Yeah.
I last weekend I went on record and I was like Dylan Gabriel is winning the Heisman. Well, there goes that. I fucking looking like an idiot.
What sucks is if we would have won that game, he would have still been right up there because he rushed for 3 touchdowns. He didn't throw very good, but he
Yeah,
didn't really get the opportunity to throw either, which I'll get into that.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And they're doing everything that they need to do on the offensive side of the ball. The only reason that they've lost is because their fucking defense is atrocious. Like they give up 55 points to Ole Miss and 45 to us. Yeah, and he still had a good game, like both of those games, like 400 yards, 346. Yeah, only one touchdown here, but four in that game. Like he's going absolutely insane. He could still win it with two losses. If they win out, he absolutely can win the Heisman, and he probably should if he wins out and he keeps playing like this.
He's
There's
probably the best player in the country. If you're just basing everything off stats. Like,
yeah, off just stats alone, yeah, probably.
I mean, like if you're looking at it like that, he's probably the best guy in the country.
Yeah,
It's just
I
can they keep winning and do people in front of him lose or not is the question. Because you're probably not gonna give him the Heisman over somebody who's undefeated who has like pretty decent stats themselves.
yeah, yeah, I'd say so. What do you got at four?
Four, I had Jayden Daniels. Who do you have
Oh,
at
okay,
four?
I got JJ. Just it makes me sick to do it, but just because they're undefeated, and he's playing well. Like he's not playing bad, but he's not playing like super good. Yeah, he's got the number one QBR, but if you know what the fucking defense is calling, you shouldn't be like yeah, look at his completion percentage. Like it's hard to fuck up when you know what they're gonna call. All these are probably like some errant throws on his part, or maybe somebody on the defense got lucky and is able to tip the ball down. I don't watch Michigan football. Why the fuck would I?
Yeah, he's just not doing anything to blow me away. And then if you look at his stats, they're not better
He's not
than they're
beating
not better than
anybody.
Travis, and
No, he's
Jordan
not
Travis
better.
isn't getting nearly as much media coverage.
He's not better on stats than Travis. He's not better than Jayden Daniels. He's not better than Michael Penix. He's probably not even better than Caleb Williams. It's just QBR. I think that's really what's inflating them, and because they're undefeated, and because they look so dominant. But it's a big, big, big fucking asterisk there. Like, come on, man. What are we talking about here? Like, this dude shouldn't even be in the conversation if it
If he wins, I would almost go as far as to say he's probably the least deserving Heisman to ever
ever.
get the trophy.
And then I hope if they come out and find out that they did indeed cheat, they take it because fucking Reggie Bush lost his. So
And Reggie
but
Bush didn't cheat on the field; he just got paid on the side, which was
exactly,
illegal
that'd
at
be
the
a
time.
fucking slap in the face to Reggie Bush. Absolute slap in the face. And they're still slapping him in the face. He's one of the best college players of all time.
Yeah, give him his Heisman
Put
back.
some fucking respect on that man's name. That is arguably the most electric college football player we've ever seen.
Yeah,
Still
give
to
him his
this day.
Heisman back. That's
Yeah.
that's ridiculous that he doesn't have his Heisman.
I wonder if they actually came and like took the trophy from him. Like, I wonder if he still has this trophy.
That's what I'm curious about. Like, I wonder if he has it or if
If
they
I
just
was
like
him
took him out
and
the
they were like
record.
trying to take it, I'd have made a fake to keep the real one and keep it like in a fucking vault in my basement or something. Like, fuck you, man. This is mine. I earned this shit.
I think
Uh,
like the school also gets a Heisman trophy. Like, I think the player and the school both get like a trophy.
yeah, for them to put up in
'Cause
their,
they
their
put in the
case.
trophy case. They probably just took USC's out of the trophy case.
Yeah, I would hope so. Who'd you see you had for?
Four had Jayden Daniels, and then I had
Okay.
McCarthy at three. So I'm assuming the guy I don't have on my list that you have on the list is Marvin Harrison Jr.
He's he's single-handedly carrying this Ohio State on offense. I wouldn't say the entire team because the defense is playing really, really well. But he's like, look at these last four games as a receiver. Like, that's just nuts. Like, yeah, he's not having like a absolutely incredible year up to this point. Like, I think probably Devontae Smith maybe would he maybe have up to 1,000 at this point.
Yeah, probably so.
But he's had two games under 100. That's
Yeah,
nuts. And I think when they played Notre Dame, I think they really just ran the ball the majority of the time, and their defense was just playing really well.
and they're probably
Uh,
double teaming him.
this is the first game of the year with a new quarterback. McCourt's, I'll give him some slack, and they still won. But yeah, two receptions for 18 yards is a little whack, and then 3 for 32 is a little whack. But other than that, over 100 every game, and he's got a touchdown in every game other than those two, at least one. So He's fucking the dude's crazy. He's unguardable. You cannot cover this man single handedly.
Yeah.
There's not a single corner, safety, linebacker in college football that can line up on this dude and shut him down. Not a soul.
No,
But
he's the best receiver. Like, I mean, he might not. I don't know if he is statistically, but just like based on, like, we all know
like
he's the best
yeah,
receiver.
like
And I mean, Ohio State keeps winning. He has like a huge like Heisman performance against Michigan.
yeah.
He's gonna be right up in that conversation. He could easily win it, depending on what's going on above him.
Right. It's just impressive, like for him to even be into the conversation as a receiver. It's so hard, but like he's just making it. He makes it look easy. Like he's crazy. He's crazy good.
He might be better than his dad, which is crazy because his dad's a Hall of Famer, one of the best receivers of all time, and he has the potential to be even better than him.
I think he's like 2 times better than Devontae Smith. Like Devontae Smith wanted as a wide receiver.
He's more of a complete receiver. He could do more than
Yeah.
Devontae Smith. He's
Devontae Smith is
stronger.
fast as fuck though. That's that.
Yeah,
See, when Devontae Smith won it, like a lot of the times, like that man was just wide open, like just just over the top. Like I feel like every time you seen Devontae Smith scoring touchdowns, just they're just taking the top off the defense. So
yeah,
I mean, I'm not taking anything away from him. He's really fucking good. He's being heavily underutilized in Philly, but
yeah.
my
Uh,
personal opinion.
so I'm assuming our top two is the same. I have Jordan Travis at two.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's
he
starting to pick
keeps
it up.
winning.
He's starting to pick it up. I think he's starting to realize like he could potentially maybe compete for it. We do have an easier schedule on our back half, so he's starting to sling it. I would like his completion percentage to be a little better, but in this game we were missing like 3 of our 4 top wide receivers, so like he really only had Keon Coleman and Trey Benson. Like he had 80 yards of this, and 1 pass was Trey Benson, but uh, he's he's running the ball well. He's getting rushing touchdowns, which adds to his stats. He's getting passing touchdowns. QBR solid, and we're still winning. So
And you say he
he's
has 24 total touchdowns with his 6 rushing touchdowns.
yeah, he's got that's 24. McCarthy's got 18, 19, 20, 21. So he's got 3 more than McCarthy. I don't know how the fuck he's behind McCarthy. 0.
He's
He's
got he's got more yards,
better
same passing
wins,
touchdowns, less interceptions. The QBR is the only thing.
better
Uh,
wins.
yeah, better wins. So
There's
I don't get it.
0 worlds in the entire universe that McCarthy should be above Jordan Travis. I don't see it.
Really, like if we took out the team aspect of the Heisman,
And
JJ
he
McCarthy really shouldn't even be in the conversation.
I'm sure there's another quarterback somewhere on another team that has better stats with maybe 1 loss.
Dylan Gabriel
Yeah. See,
significantly better stats. I think Dylan Gabriel has like 27 total touchdowns or something.
yeah,
Like he's like
he's
he's
got a fuck
pushing
ton of
like Jayden
rushing touchdowns too.
Daniels.
Yeah, exactly. He's got a good bit of yards. Let me just look him up. We'll just compare. 2302. So he's got 200 on Travis, 1 more passing touchdown, 2 more interceptions. He's beating him on QBR. What the fuck did I just click on? And he's got 8 rushing touchdowns. So he's set at 27. Everything he's beating McCarthy and everything. Other than he's beating him in interceptions, but it's 1 more. He's
Yeah,
2 behind him in QBR. So like realistically, Dylan Gabriel should be above JJ McCarthy in every Heisman ranking. It's just he just had a terrible loss this weekend.
yeah. And then obviously we have Michael Penix at number one. This
Yeah,
is Michael Penix. Like he controls his own destiny as far as the
for
Heisman
sure.
goes. All he has to do is win out. The interceptions are a little bit concerning. He does have more than pretty much all the guys
Yeah, but I
we
mean, six
discussed.
isn't six isn't crazy, and like 2 of those were in one game against that Arizona State team in the
Yeah,
rain at like the very beginning of the game. But and then the no passing touchdowns, but all of his bad shit was in one game, and then he didn't have any against Arizona, but he
he's
threw for three.
negative
He
rushing
threw,
yards on the season.
yeah, that's probably from sacks
Yeah,
more than likely. He's almost at 3,000. Like there ain't nobody else even close other than Jayden Daniels, and he's just fucking he's a gunslinger. He gets a lot of yards. You can almost count for it. If he wants to win it, he's probably gonna start scoring a little bit more.
Yeah, I think as long as he just keeps throwing his yards the same, at least
And he
gets a
went
couple
and they went out.
touchdowns and he wins,
I think
it's
he's got
his.
it.
But
Yeah,
I don't think they went out. I don't see
it's
it.
starting to not look like it, unfortunately.
I think like I really think Jordan Travis in his current situation has the best shot to win it, just based on the level of competition he has remaining on the schedule. Uh,
I fucking hope so, man. Like I said earlier, he could probably care less if he wins it, which is cool. He's not out there, try hard, and the dude just wants to win.
yeah.
So
It's unfortunate though because even with a Penix loss, just the way I know the national sports media has been this year, it's like they'll view it as like it's automatically JJ McCarthy's until he loses when it really should be Jordan Travis at that point.
yeah, Jordan
Um,
Travis is like tied, and I was looking at Heisman rankings just to kind of see where mine was, and they had Travis at like 4. Like McCarthy's like 1, and then they had 2 other people tied at 2. I think it was Penix and maybe Marvin Harrison. And then I think they had Jayden Daniels above Jordan Travis at like 3. And I'm like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Like,
like
who
he
who
won the
wrote
head-to-head
this?
like matchup
Yeah,
of
like
this.
what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I would understand if like Jayden Daniels has like fucking 1,000 yards on Travis and like 5 to 10 more total touchdowns. Okay, sure, whatever. By all means, man, go nuts. At that point, you deserve it. But what are we talking about? Come on.
He's only got like a
The
game's worth of stats above
the
Jordan
media
Travis.
like and the NCAA and ESPN hate Florida State. Like nobody likes us, and they never have. No, everybody disrespects us every time, every year.
I have noticed that. I noticed it in the rankings because really Florida State should have been 2. And like it was just like everybody's just like, well, yeah, duh, of course Florida State should be 4 is kind of the attitude I got from everybody.
Yeah,
Um,
Granted, we haven't done ourselves a whole lot of favors with some close wins against BC and Clemson, but
that was so
I,
early in the season now. Like the past few weeks,
yeah,
it hasn't looked like that.
nah, we're on fire. Like that, I gave Adam Fuller a lot of shit earlier in the year, but it seems like he's starting to get it together. I think with our heavy rotation of defensive players, I think our second line, third stringers that are getting playing time, like they're all starting to mesh a little bit. So in the long run, it seems like it's paying off for us. But earlier in the year when they were trying that shit, we were getting fucking cooked. We still need to get our goddamn run defense squared away.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, I think Florida State's overall looking like a really, really good team. And they have just nobody left. So I mean, Florida State's almost like should be a lock in the playoffs as long as they could get
Yeah.
the job done. I'd say Florida is going to be the toughest one just because it's a rivalry. You never know in a
Yep.
rivalry game. And then the
Absolutely.
ACC championship, which it's looking
It's
like
like
it's
in
going to be
Louisville.
Louisville.
Yeah.
And
Plus,
Louisville, if Louisville wins out in the
Louisville's a good
ACC
team.
championship, maybe Louisville gets in.
And Louisville can definitely beat us. I'm not saying we are guaranteed to win that game by any mean. That's a good team.
If that's a one loss Louisville, by the time the ACC championship rolls around, that's probably like a rank 7 Louisville, 8 Louisville, something like that.
Yeah, they're definitely above 10 at that point. Because they're set at 13 now. So, and then who do they got? Virginia Tech. That should be a win. Virginia's been giving fucking people problems like the last 3 weeks, surprisingly. Miami, that should be a win, and then Kentucky should be a win. So they should win. God damn it, I got the burps. So they should definitely win out. This be like the best season Louisville's ever had, probably.
Yeah, and then I
Which is
mean
crazy because they had
sitting,
Lamar Jackson.
and sitting, I mean like sitting above Louisville, you got Missouri who could easily lose to Georgia this upcoming week, or they could hand Georgia a loss.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, I believe, has to play Georgia. Um, let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to
So
play Georgia. So I mean that's an opportunity for Louisville to move up. Penn State could easily lose to Michigan,
Michigan, OU still has OSU and possibly
OSU,
Texas again.
OU, Texas, Oregon. They're gonna have to play USC and maybe Washington again. Washington
Alabama's
has to
got
play USC and Oregon again.
LSU this week, potentially Georgia SEC championship. Yeah, there's a
So
very good
it's looking like
chance.
if Louisville just keeps their head down and they went out, they could easily get in.
Yeah, they would 100% be in. They got some big wins.
Yeah, they're one of those sneaky teams. I would say like from 13 up. That's what the guys on the playoff show were saying last night. 13 up, pretty much. If
Anything
they
can
won
happen.
out, like if any of those teams won out, they would
They'd
get in the
probably make
playoff.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. Let me take a quick potty break and then we can jump into the bottom half of the 25. Just kind of
All right.
you
I'll
can start it.
entertain
You
the
can start if
crowd.
you want. I don't really.
I'll entertain the crowd. I'll
All
come up
right.
with something to talk about. Let's see what do we got going on in college football. Uh, I don't know if you guys saw the Dabo Sweeney coach's interview. He was doing one of his coach's radio shows, and this caller got on and really got on Dabo's ass and was like, "You get paid $11 million a year, and we're sitting here at 4-4. Like, how do you explain that?" And Dabo just ripped into that guy and was like, "Hey, look, man, we've won 3 national championships in the last 7 years, and we hadn't even got close to that like the 30 years before I got here. We've had like 11, 12, however many years of dominance." It was just a really interesting conversation to hear Dabo kind of go off on a fan, but he was making some good points. Clemson, they haven't looked good, but they've been really, really good. And it's kind of the way fan bases are, I've noticed, and I really don't like it. How, you could have one bad year or so and everybody's, calling for your job and acting like you have like completely discrediting you because you've had one bad season. Fan bases are so toxic, especially in college football, I've noticed. So it was kind of nice to hear him go off on that fan. He was making some pretty good points. Um yeah, he was some fair points he was making. I don't know if you saw that Dabo he was doing like a coach's show and
Nope.
this fan got on and was like, "Dabo, you make $11 million a year and we're 4-4. How do you explain that?" And Dabo like ripped into the dude. He was like, "The past like 15 years we've been great. We've won 3 championships in the last 7 years. Before I got here, like we weren't doing shit basically."
Yeah.
He was like,
I mean,
"I have one bad year and you're calling from my job." And I was like, "You got a point." Like he does have a
he does have
point.
a point, but I don't know. They've just kind of made some bad decisions. That he seems like he's stuck in the past. Like he seems like he hasn't transitioned. They are not really using the transfer portal. They're really mostly building their team off recruiting, which is cool, and it might work out for him, but it's not looking good. He's gonna have to change something up. They
Well,
gotta figure out.
he's definitely anti NIL, anti
Yeah,
transfer
he
portal.
is, and it's not working out for him. So he's gonna have to either reverse that and hop on the fucking bandwagon with everybody else that's utilizing it and beating the shit out of everybody. Because like, oh wait, I mean, the majority of the teams up at the top are using it pretty heavily. Like our entire team almost is from the transfer portal. Like all of our good players are more than mostly from the transfer portal.
I mean, if you look at like the top 10, like those are probably the 10 teams that utilize the transfer portal the
Yeah,
most
almost
outside of
every
like
quarterback
Colorado,
on this team's like from the transfer portal. Like Oregon, dude came from Auburn. Washington, he came from Louisville, I think.
Indiana,
Indiana. Florida State,
Indiana.
Travis came from Louisville. McCarthy, I don't fucking know where he came
Yeah,
from.
McCarthy, I think is a Michigan commit.
And then
Arson Beck, I believe, is a Georgia commit.
he was almost about to go to Florida, and then McCord, I don't know where the fuck he was from, but there's a lot of big players up there, starting quarterbacks that are not from those teams. So you got to go with the times, man. He's gonna keep having years like this, and he needs to find another defensive coordinator because the guy that got ain't working.
Well, and I mean the
It's starting to
argument's
look
starting
like
to, yeah,
Venables
carried
was the
him.
yeah, because those defenses were fucking nasty. Um, and I don't know, like it's starting to look like is Venables like a good head coach, or is he really just a savant at just the defense? Like, does he is he got too much to worry about right now, and he's kind of like spread too thin? Like, because I know if he can focus in on a defense, that man can make a fucking nasty defense. Like, is he spread too thin? I don't know. It is still early in his career. He's
I mean,
still
we could hop into OU since we're kind of
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about
Might as
it.
well. Like I would say it's still really early in his coaching career. He still don't have all his guys that he wants, the type of players he wants to fit his scheme. So I'm gonna chalk it up to that. I would like to see more progression from the defense next year. It's gonna have to happen going to the SEC. Like that defense is gonna have to shore up. Like giving 38 to Kansas, 29 to UCF, like they're giving up a lot of points to teams that like they shouldn't really be giving points up to. But he doesn't have all his dues. Like a lot of these dues are leftovers from Lincoln Riley. So
I have no
what do
doubt
you
in
what do you
my
think?
mind. I have no doubt in my mind. I think Brent Venables is absolutely the right
I
coach
like
for
him as a
OU.
coach. I really do. I'm so glad he left Clemson.
I
Uh,
think by the time it's said and done, give it another 10 years, we're going to be talking about Brent Venables the same way we talk about Bob Stoops in Oklahoma.
and Bob Stoops,
Um,
what? He only had one championship,
one championship,
and
several Big 12 championships.
he's a god in Oklahoma. That's just like some people would be like some people getting fired after winning one championship. Like look at Ed Orgeron. Like granted he had some things, but dude just won a championship and they fucking kicked his ass to the curb. Oh, you ran with Bob Stoops forever, so
Yeah,
they're
granted, he did
loyal,
have
very
like
loyal.
four or five like championship appearances.
Yeah, and they
So I mean,
making
he was staying up there. It's not like
yeah, absolutely.
he had a few down years, but overall he was pretty good. I mean, the defense at OU has made massive improvements over
Oh,
last
I
year.
would agree.
We're
I would
averaging 30 points allowed last year. Even with these past couple of games, we're probably still under 20
yeah.
is what we're averaging on the year. But going into this Kansas game, I'll start with the positive. We ran the ball very well.
The
Tolly
entire
Walker
game.
was awesome. He had almost 150 yards. He got a little banged up at the end of the game, and I think that really hurt us when we were trying to get those first downs to close the game out. That was a real big positive. Another positive I saw was like the team didn't give up. Like the team we could have got blown out going down 14-0 really quick.
Yeah.
They stayed with it the whole game. Um, Negatives, tackling was not good at all on defense. It's the worst tackling I've seen all season. Danny Stutzman getting hurt definitely hurt
That was
that
a
like a
big
lot.
blow.
But still, I mean, one player shouldn't make your whole defense.
No.
So
Unless it's like a cornerback. That's maybe an exception.
yeah,
Like a lockdown cornerback.
and OU has a lot of competitive depth on defense. They could swap guys in and out, so there's really no excuse for the tackling. Obviously the weather was a big factor in the game.
And then
Um,
the fucking delay, I think really fucked you guys over.
yeah, the momentum was going on OU side before the delay. The delay happens.
There's an
OU
hour delay.
does okay. The lead swaps back and forth a few times. Just couldn't get it done. The main complaint I have right now is really like our fan base is just driving me crazy right now. Like we were 6-7 last year. We're 7-1 now. Like
That's
if you would have told us before the season, like when the first college football playoff rankings come out, you're going to be ranked 9. Like I think everybody
I
would
would
have
have been
taken
happy with
that.
that. I would be happy
Everybody
with
would have
my
taken
team sitting at 9. Like, yeah, granted we won 10 games last year, but I'd have been happy sitting at 9 too.
that. Like you
Absolutely.
still have a shot.
Yeah.
And everybody, like, as soon as we lose a game, it's like this person needs to be
Se-
fired. This guy
season's
needs to be
over.
benched.
Yeah.
And OU fans have this like weird like standard where it's like championship or bust. But we haven't won a championship since 2000, so get over that.
Yeah.
Like if I would get it if we're Bama or Georgia and like you're in the championship like every year, like then it's championship or bust. But we
For sure.
haven't even been to a national championship since 2008. So everybody needs to get over that right now. You guys should be very grateful for this team that we have right now. We could win a Big 12 championship. We could still make the playoffs. All of our
Yeah.
goals are still in front of us.
A Big 12 championship, like on the high end, like if that's all you guys get, that's a win. That's a win on the season.
Yeah,
Like
and
granted, it's probably not what you want, but that's a big turnaround from last year. And especially if you beat Texas again for it, like fuck.
yeah, I mean
That's huge.
a conference championship like I get like in the age of like the college football playoffs, like
Yeah.
if you don't make the playoffs, the season feels like a failure. But like
It's only
winning a
four
conference,
teams out of 100 and what 20 something teams.
yeah,
Like that's such a small, and you can lose one game and not make the playoffs. Like that's such a small margin for error. You have one fucking bad weekend, and this was y'all's bad weekend. I'm chalking it up to the weather and a little bit of the offensive play calling, but um,
yeah,
that it happens. Like everybody has a fucking bad weekend. Everybody.
yeah. And I mean, you just got to be like, if you win a conference championship, you got to view that as a successful year.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, if you don't win the playoffs, yeah, it sucks. It's disappointing. You want to win a championship, but
I
that's
mean,
still a successful year if you win a conference championship or
even
even just make it
Bama,
to
like
one.
even Bama winning conference championships and losing the playoffs, like that's still a fucking win for them. Like, yeah, they made the playoffs, but like they still got the fucking conference championship. Like losing in the playoffs means nothing, or making the playoffs means nothing if you don't win the whole thing. Like means literally nothing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you got the stat. You made the 14 playoff. Like, okay. There's a couple other teams that have made the playoff and didn't fucking win either. Michigan, uh, Cincinnati, us. Fucking, I think Michigan State made it one year.
Yeah,
Um,
Washington's made it.
Washington, they didn't fucking want it. Like nobody's calling for fucking Washington's head coach's job,
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm
they
saying. I
ain't
mean,
even fucking winning their fucking conference.
nobody like on like OU has been calling for like Venable's job, but like
Nah.
Jeff Levy
Oh,
specifically,
100%. He could definitely get. You guys could use an improvement on the play calling. His play calling is fucking so weird, and it's like the fucking bubble screens and then like running when you shouldn't be running. Like, yes, it's gonna work sometimes, and you're gonna pick the first down. Like, it's gonna happen occasionally, but sometimes I'm like, what the fuck are you doing right here? Like, why are you calling that? It doesn't make sense. Like, okay, maybe if you're gonna go for it on fourth, yeah, you can run that. You can run it, sure, but it's and yeah, it was raining, it was fucking cold, but throw the goddamn ball, man. Like. Gabriel has 19 passing attempts. Like that's just kind of unacceptable.
yeah, I mean to get into Jeff Levy because it's like it's kind of a complex issue.
Yeah.
Um, so we have like one of the best offenses in the country. Um, it's really Jeff Levy's like situational awareness is really what the problem is because he could drop good plays in general. His offense is good, but he throws it when he should run and he runs it when he should throw, and then he tries something right. Like I remember we had a 3rd and 7, or maybe it might have even been shorter than that. It might have been like a 3rd and 4. Or actually, it was fourth. It was like fourth down. It was 4th and 7, I think. And I don't know, you probably just try to throw like a short pass, like a slant, maybe an out route, something like that.
Maybe
And
something short.
he runs a reverse with a Gavin Freeman who's like he's fast, but he isn't that fast. And we turn the ball over. And it's just situations like that. And then
Just throw the ball.
we had that interception at the end of the game, which should have been like the closing of the game.
There was like 2 minutes left. I was like, oh, game's over.
And then he just runs it 3 times, and I'm like, we need a first down. Like if
Just
we
throw it once at least. Fuck, dude.
they had all 3 timeouts, so it's like running it doesn't really help us because the
Yeah.
clock's gonna stop either way. You might as well throw it that one time, get
Try
the
to get a
first
first
down,
down.
and then the
Game's
game's
over.
over. But as far
Yeah,
as like
that shit pissed me
should
off.
Jeff Levy get fired, I'm not to
Not
that
right
point
now.
yet.
Not right now. If he's gonna be fired, consider it at the end of the year.
I
Consider it.
mean, I'm not even to that point where I think we should fire him at the end. I mean, like if we go into OSU and the same stuff happens, then we need to have a more serious conversation about it. But my question for OU fans is like, who do you have in mind to replace him? Because the best offensive minds in college football are all head coaches right now, like Josh Heupel, Lane Kiffin, Lincoln Riley. All these great offensive minds are pretty much head coaches. Jeff Levy's probably the best offensive mind that's not currently a head coach
Hey,
in
if I'm
college
OU, I'm
football.
calling Josh McDaniels.
I had that same thought
That
today,
dude,
but I'm like, I don't know if you take it.
he's pretty solid on the offense on just the offensive play calling. Like he's not a good head coach, but he can call some offensive plays.
Yeah,
I feel
I think Jeff Levy, like if because Venables, uh, he had a press conference. I think it was today. I watched it, and they're like, "What do you think about us throwing the ball down the field?" We saw at the end of the game, like Dylan Gabriel threw that bomb to Brennan Thompson, and he caught it, and it was like, why didn't we just do some
do
of that
more a
earlier
little
in
more
the
of that.
game?
Yeah.
And Venables is like, we need to. We have athletes that could get over the defense. Like he's like, I don't
Yeah.
know why we're not doing that. So
Fucking
that's
Nick
something to work
Anderson's an
on.
absolute unit, and they barely threw it to him. Like,
Yeah. So I think if Venables could really just get on Levy's ass and like, look,
yeah.
you have to get the ball downfield. I think Levy could.
Stop going side to side. Try to go fucking forward.
Yeah, I think Levy could turn it around. It's just kind of
I do too. I do
a
too.
weird. It's a weird spot because like yeah, if we play this way again next week and he makes the same mistakes, you got to have a serious conversation about his future in Norman.
Absolutely.
But on the flip side, and this is another argument I'm getting a little sick about too. Well, if we fire Levy, Jackson Arnold's gonna leave. Like fuck Jackson Arnold, let him leave then. Like I don't care about Jackson. I'm sick of hearing about Jackson
Go to the
Arnold.
transfer portal. You're gonna get somebody. Somebody's gonna want to. Like, you guys have had how many fucking Heisman Trophy quarterbacks have you guys had recently?
Yeah,
Like, good
two and a
fucking.
nominee. Yeah,
Like, come on.
like who cares? Like I like Jackson Arnold. I hope he's the future, but like I am so sick of hearing about this dude. Like bench Gabriel and put in Jackson Arnold. Like no, I hope Dylan Gabriel because he has another year of eligibility.
I hope he comes back.
I just hope he comes back. And if Jackson Arnold doesn't like it, like fuck him.
Nah,
That's how I feel
if
about it.
Gabriel's projected going first round, he's leaving.
I don't know if he's gonna be projected to go that high though.
Maybe tail into the first round. I could see it. Like 28 to 32.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're projected second, I'd say still go.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but I mean, like if you think you could rise your stock a little bit, might
Next
as well
year.
just come back.
But
You
then
know,
like you go to the SEC next year, so it ain't gonna get any easier for you. If I'm him, I'm leaving. I'm out. Like, why even take that chance to go in next year and potentially just get fucking pummeled by some good SEC defenses? Like, I'm not saying like the team get pummeled, but like him, like his stats. Um, unless you guys bring in some just absolute units as wide receivers, like, okay, yeah, sure, run it back, but it's not gonna get any easier. So if I'm him, I'm done.
I actually think the SEC we're gonna do better in the SEC. I think just we're
I hope
designed better
so.
for the SEC.
Fucking
The Big 12 is such an offensive conference. Like
yeah,
every
the
week,
offenses are
you got to go
crazy.
against an offensive powerhouse every
It's a
week.
it's a shootout every week, and like why would you focus on defense when all you need to do is outscore these teams? And
Yeah,
I think Venables was a very good hire with the SEC future coming up because he is a defensive guy. I don't know. I really thought the defense was going to be more squared away and better. Yeah, they are pretty good. Like what do they have the most interceptions in college football right now?
yeah. I think right now we're like
They got like
I saw this stat.
they got like 12 or some shit.
there's only like 6 or 7 teams that have top 15 offenses and defense, and OU is one of them.
And
We have
we
a
got
top
top
15.
5.
Yeah, SMU, who we played second week, they have a top 15 offense and defense. So like that's a better win. But another thing on the Levy thing is that it's not solely on him though, because the defense could have won the game too on that fourth down where we
Oh my god,
blew the coverage. And Venables even
completely
owned
blew it.
that. He said I should have called a timeout,
Yeah.
set something else up, and
It happens. It does happen, but it's very disappointing. I mean, if you're looking at stat lines, it's almost completely even across the board. Um, this Bean dude, he's solid. He's solid cat. He's good.
well, that's another thing. Kansas, they found a way to throw the ball.
They did, yeah.
So I mean, there's no
Like,
excuse. Like the weather can't be your excuse. And then when Dylan actually could throw the ball, he threw it pretty well.
yeah. So why the
He
fuck
threw
wouldn't
that
they
one
throw it?
downfield. I think
He
Levy,
missed 5 passes. Like, I don't know why you're abandoning the passing. He missed 5.
yeah, because he threw that pick six like the first drive. Then you're just like, oh,
Go
Levy calls
fucking
games to not lose. He doesn't call them to win. And that's his problem. He
yeah.
plays really conservative because he's scared he's going to make the bad call that loses the game. But it's like working the opposite way. Like you playing it safe is what's like losing us
You're
games.
letting that you're just kind of just you're running the ball, hoping to pick up a big play, hoping to pick up the first down on the ground, and then it's not working. You're stalling out, and Kansas is just grinding away. Yeah. I was worried about this game coming into it, but I really didn't think you guys were gonna lose. But fuck, it's a little depressing.
Yeah.
I felt really bad. I was heartbroken for you. I had all my chips in on OU making the playoffs, us making the playoffs, and like hopefully making the championship game against each other. That would have been sweet music for both of us. And yeah, it's still possible. It's very possible. You
Yeah,
guys
I
can
think it's
still
still
make it.
possible. I mean, this was just I'm not even going to use the weather as an excuse. It was just a bad performance all around, offensively, defensively. Um, I wouldn't say it was like a terrible performance, but it was like average to below average when he needed to be great.
Yeah,
And that's what happened. Now going into OSU, everything's kind of pointing towards OSU is going to win this game.
it's looking like an
Um,
upset.
they like I don't even know if it'd be an upset just based on the momentum both the teams are currently at.
Yeah,
OSU like one, they care about the game way
the
more.
last Bedlam. It's in Stillwater.
In Stillwater, they
It's
have their offenses rolling.
Stillwater gets wild. They
But
sometimes have a pretty their defense shows up. But like traditionally, like when these types of games happens, OU rolls in and just fucking shits on them. Like this always happens. Like they both come in with some momentum. OSU is like, oh, we got a defense. We got a dude on offense that makes plays, and that dude gets shut the fuck down, and OU blows them out. This happens all the time.
yeah, that's actually what I was about to say. What I was about to say with
Every year.
all this stuff pointing OSU's way.
It never goes their way.
OU likes to play the underdog. I've noticed this season because ever since we got back up on like where people are taking us seriously, we've
Yeah.
dropped. And now that we're back under the radar again, I think OU is going to have a really good game. The
Hope
weather's
so.
supposed to be good in Stillwater.
Yeah.
We have Trace Ford, one of our D linemen. He's from OSU. He transferred in, so hopefully he could give us some insight on maybe some of the things they're going to do.
Yeah, hopefully.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm expecting him to have a big game just because he's playing his old team and he's played pretty good for us so far.
Yeah.
I think OU ultimately wins.
Yeah.
But like I said, everything's pointing to it should be OSU that wins. But I think OU is just gonna
I'm not
the
gonna
talent gap's too big.
I'm not gonna lie. I am gonna make a parlay with OSU winning. It would be stupid not to.
I mean, everything's pointing to the fact that OSU should win. So I'm not going to be surprised if OSU wins, but
Nah, I'm not
I
either.
think OU is going to win.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna call it because it's like I said, it's like a coin flip almost. It could go either way. It's a tough game.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyways, off of that, I guess. Um,
After that, that's a pretty favorable. You guys should win all three of those games. West Virginia is kind of picking up some steam, I'm pretty sure. 5-3. They did lose to OSU, beat UCF, got kind of shit on by Penn State. So that should be a win. And then TCU's just bad this year. BYU's kind of bad. So
yeah, I mean, it's not easy to win out there. It's
so I mean,
not gonna be easy.
hypothetically, you guys lose to OSU. You guys finish with 2 losses. Like that's a win. That is a win on the year.
Yeah, I mean,
Even if you guys don't make the Big 12 championship.
you lose to OSU, yeah, 2 losses. You're probably sitting at I don't know 15 at the end of the year.
I don't
Something
know. I
like
mean,
that.
you guys say you guys lose to OSU this week, hypothetically, because they're at 22. So look how far you guys fell when you lost to an unranked Kansas team. You fell 4. So I couldn't see it, maybe more than 5. So drop to 15 and then win the last 3 games. You guys would probably climb up to probably about where you're sitting now.
Yeah, so I mean, you finished the season top 10. To me, that's a good year.
Yeah.
I was expecting us to go, 8 wins, 9 wins. It looks like we could be easily a 10-win team by the time the year's over. So
Yeah,
uh,
for sure.
but well, yeah, we could go down to the bottom of the top 25.
And we'll cook it around through them.
Air
Air Force
Force.
8-0 is absolutely surprising. I think you picked Colorado State to win that game, and I was like, okay, yeah, Colorado State, their quarterback's pretty good. He's up in the top of like passing statistics for the country or for FBS. So I was like, yeah, Colorado State should probably win that game. Fuck no, they got kind of fucked on, which is wild.
It was a snowing at that game. It was really interesting because I guess some of the Colorado State fans were throwing snowballs.
They
They got a
moved
flag thrown
all of
on
them
them.
up. It's fucking wild. It's so funny.
You know how mad
Uh,
you got to be if you're a Colorado State player and you're getting flags because of something like your fans are doing.
Losing to Air Force is wild. That's crazy. I'm happy for them. I hope they win out. I don't even know who they got the rest of the year. Let's see. Army, oh, LSU just beat them 63-0. So I'm not saying that they're scoring 63, but this should be like, 24-14, 24-10, 27-10 type thing is what I'm kind of guessing. I don't think Hawaii, UNLV is probably going to be the team that beats them if they're going to lose. So
UNLV and Boise State at the end of the year, I think, are going to be two
I don't
pretty
even
tough
think
games.
Boise's 4-4. Like they're not really what they normally are. I think they're actually favorites in this game. Okay. And then Hawaii heavy favorites. So they're heavy favorites in every game. So
I mean, they're looking at a New Year's Six
at them, there's no way they make the playoffs if they went out. Unfortunately, it would be
next
very.
year. Though next year they would make the
They
playoffs.
would. They would absolutely would. That would be so fucking cool. A military academy that doesn't even care about football making the playoff, and that would just be so cool for football. Um, it would give you hope. Like as like an athlete, you could be like, okay, I can go to the academy and still compete at a high level and potentially win a championship. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure there's a lot of good college players that are like consider joining the military academy or the military in general, and it's like, well, I can't fucking play football because their teams suck. So like, why even do it? So I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
gonna
what
play.
Dylan Gabriel's originally committed to Army, and he probably just
Yeah.
had the same thought, like, oh, I'm never gonna be able to do anything there.
So yeah, I'm not going to the army. I'm just gonna put all my chips on playing football compared to where you could go play football and then if it don't work out and you don't make the league, I'm an officer now. Cool. That
Yeah,
I make really good money now,
yeah.
but I fuck with it.
I think it's really cool. Tulane, I really haven't kept track of. Um,
No, I've
I don't
watched.
really think they should be above for or Air Force with a, they have a one loss. I mean, granted, their loss was I think to Ole Miss, so I could kind of
Yeah,
understand
I
the argument
guess
on it.
they probably have a
Uh,
better schedule.
Now this K State, Oklahoma State, Kansas is a really interesting thing because Oklahoma State beat Kansas, so why Oklahoma State is behind Kansas doesn't really make sense unless
Kansas
you
has
just
the best
Kansas
win.
has the better win, I guess is what you could make the argument for.
Uh, K State is somehow they're Texas is on like a heavy upset alert in this game, which maybe, but I don't see it. Texas's defense is really good. They got a really good running game. They're
Malik Murphy didn't even look that bad. I mean, he looked
no,
okay.
I don't see Kansas State winning this game. I was considering because I did do a parlay and I picked Texas, and then I was like thinking about it. I was like, would they lose? And then I'm like, nah, there ain't no chance. So K State's dropping out of the 25. So we'll see.
USC is an interesting ranking too. Uh,
They
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 are
shouldn't be ranked. They should not be ranked.
yeah, they're 24 in the AP and they're 20 in the playoffs. So I'm like, what is the committee thinking? Like, is
This
USC's athletic director on the committee or something?
their fucking wins loss rate like the way they've won some of these games is fucking embarrassing. Beating Cal by 1 point and they almost lost because Cal didn't make their 2 point conversion at the end of the game. Like that is embarrassing. Cal is trash
And
historically
honestly,
and this year. Like they're not good. They're not a good
they're
team.
not.
Like what are they? 3-5. They should be 70 to like 0.
That defense is so
The
bad.
fact you give up 49 points to Cal, you should not be ranked. Like this is technically a loss. Like this should be just counted as a loss. Like yeah, I know that they won, on paper, but that's a loss for USC. For the program, for Caleb Williams, for college football, like that's a loss in my eye.
That's
Um
that's
then
terrible.
they lost to, they barely beat Arizona, they barely beat Colorado. Like
And Colorado is starting to not look like that great of a team,
fuck
and they
no.
they barely beat Colorado.
People have Colorado figured it out. It's the O line. You just gotta just bring the house.
Did you see Dion after the game? He was like, honestly, over the offseason, we go and find a new O line. That's
I
exactly what he
I
said.
agree. I agree. Get rid of all of them. They are fucking trash. There is a high school team somewhere with a better O line.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Those dudes should be embarrassed for themselves. Or they must have something against Shador because holy fuck.
Like
How is it possible? We'll just jump into that real quick because I got fucking Colorado as like a somehow their defense showed up this game. I have them as like a the fuck's it at? I guess I didn't even search it. I think it was like a co-defensive performance of the week, which is surprising. They got 4 turnovers off UCLA, but still got stomped out. But we'll look at the how how they got after fucking Shador real quick. That poor man. They might not have the pressure rating on here, but they forced 4 turnovers on UCLA somehow. I mean, they didn't lose by that much, but where would that be? Yeah, they got 7 sacks. That's egregious. That should never happen. 7 in a game is fucking crazy. The
He's
dude's
been
back there
dealing with that like most of the year.
every game. You could just look up his total stats. The man is fighting for his fucking life. 7, 4, 5, 3, 7. Like, what the fuck is that? That is terrible. That shouldn't happen. And his QBR like is just in the fucking gutter because of it. But he's not playing bad like as a passer. Like he's doing okay. He's not throwing interceptions. His fucking rushing yards are almost negative every other game because he's getting sacked 7 times. Like they should be fucking ashamed of themselves. Like they have a goddamn all-star at quarterback and they're just letting him get massacred. He's getting massacred. I'm surprised he's not hurt. I'm 100% surprised he's not hurt. I see him limping all the time. He's limping like every game. They're just getting smoked. Colorado should be the offensive line should be fired, all of them immediately. Just put the defensive line on the offensive line. They probably do better. That's you know what I mean? Fuck, dude,
Just
you gotta do
try
something.
something.
You
Yeah.
have to do something. Put the fucking kicker, put the punter on the O line, put the safeties, put fucking anybody on the O line. It would have to be better.
Well, it's unfortunate because this is probably the best their defense has played all year
Yeah.
in this game, and then the O line just can't block for Shador and
Yeah,
let him
granted,
do his thing.
UCLA has one of the better defenses in the country, and they knew what they were doing. I think Colorado they had 14 yards rushing from their running back. Like that's crazy. They just stopped running the ball because they couldn't. They're just running into the fucking wall. Because they're just blitzing like every fucking play. Like because the line's not gonna hold up. Why wouldn't you not? It's just embarrassing. So that win for USC is basically a loss. If you add it all together, but it is what it is. So USC should be fucking embarrassed. The 7-2, yeah, that's a good record, but they could easily be like 4-4
Yeah, I
or
mean,
four
easily.
4-5, 5-4 type thing.
I don't know why the committee is so high on them to put them at 20. That's just
Because
like
it's
a weird bias,
because it's USC
blue blood bias that the committee has. It looks like. Did
trash
you
team.
see? They couldn't start the game for a minute because like Cal students are doing a protest on the field. I don't know what they're protesting, but like they're like all like laying out on the field.
Okay, sure, whatever, man.
You know how mad like you would be if you like are trying to watch your favorite team and there's just a protest out on the field delaying the game.
You're like, okay. And then
Like,
the end of the game, they're just gonna switch to the next team, the next game up on the TV schedule. Like you wouldn't even be able to finish watching your team.
yeah, maybe not. Lincoln Riley was like, "Well, welcome to California, I guess."
Yeah, shit ass state.
Then yeah, UCLA, they had that big win against Colorado, so they're sitting at 19. Utah, unfortunately, they had
Got
the
beat the fuck
loss.
down.
That sucks.
Barnes did, and he was my player of the week last week, but boy didn't show up this week. He threw 2 picks.
Yeah, he's just inconsistent.
Yeah,
They need Cam Rising back. Hopefully he doesn't transfer and he just comes back and plays for Utah.
they was
next
asking him
year.
on game day. They was like, "Yo, make the commitment right now."
He wouldn't do it.
He wouldn't do it. He looks like he's probably gonna leave. I
Well,
mean,
nobody
why
will
wouldn't
go.
you look at some of these teams that are probably gonna lose their starting quarterback? Like McCord's new, Beck's new, McCarthy is he?
He's going to the NFL. That's what I've been
He's a
reading.
junior, so he's gone. So Michigan could use another quarterback. So yeah, why the fuck not? If they're not bowl banned, that'd be a prime destination. Florida State, we're losing Jordan Travis. We could use them. Washington's losing Penix. Oregon's losing Bo Nix. Texas is probably using Quinn Ewers, but
They have Arch Manning coming in next year.
Bama could use a quarterback. I mean, Milroe's getting better, but OU if Gabriel
Gabriel
lose, if they're not
leaves.
sold on Jackson Arnold, Ole Miss is probably gonna need a quarterback. I think Jackson Dart's
He
probably
might
gonna.
he might still have another year. I'm not sure about Jackson Dart.
Penn State desperately needs a quarterback. LSU's losing Jayden Daniels. Notre Dame's gonna lose Sam Hartman. Uh, USC's losing Caleb Williams. Kansas is gonna lose Jalen Daniels, I think. So like there's a lot of big schools that are gonna need a quarterback, and Cam Rising's after everybody leaves, he might be the most experienced quarterback left.
If
And
he
he's pretty
doesn't if
good.
he doesn't stay at Utah, I would not be surprised if he just pulled a Sam Hartman and went to Notre Dame.
Yeah, why
Like
not?
that fits his personality the most.
Yeah,
I
it
feel
does.
like
It does. I think he's better than Sam Hartman. Sam Hartman has played fucking terrible. He threw 2 interceptions this last game and he just had a bad game and they blew out Pitt. So
it was weird how good he was at Wake Forest to
yeah,
how he has been this year. Granted, the defense has been carrying him, so he's not looked too bad. But when you like kind of examine the losses, it
maybe
kind of
that slow mesh was really what kind of made him like that offense is fucking annoying to play against. I'll tell you, but he was fucking lethal in that offense, absolutely lethal. And as a traditional, drop back passer, he's not looking that good.
no,
Could be what it is.
yes, yeah. I don't know what it is with Sam Hartman. I mean, we'll see how he finishes out the year.
Yeah.
He might finish out really strong. We'll see if he like gets any NFL. I don't know if Tennessee even played this weekend. I didn't hear much about them. If they did, they didn't play anybody really worth mentioning. Uh, maybe it was, yeah. I guess Kentucky said they played this weekend. Um,
It was
oh
whatever.
yeah, I mean, that's that is what it is.
Oregon
Oregon State,
State.
they had the loss to Arizona. Arizona,
I called that.
they're looking like the best team in the Pac-12. Like
Arizona looks good.
you don't
Fafita
want to play
is a
them.
fucking animal. That dude's very good. He's very good.
Heisman radar next year for
Yeah,
sure.
100%. I hope he transfers. I'll take him. We'll take him at Florida State. Just come on over. He's a baller. He's a
It'd be
baller. He's
kind of cool to see Arizona like as a good team
a
next year.
fucking powerhouse. It'd be cool. Are they going to the Big 12?
Yeah, they're going to the Big 12.
Oh, they would run the fucking Big 12 if he stays and they keep what they got.
I
They
mean, they
would,
might go into the Big 12 as the favorites next year.
yeah, for
We're looking
sure.
at them, Oklahoma State, Colorado, if they, get their weaknesses figured out.
If Shador and Travis Hunter, I think he has to stay. But if Shador, if he comes back, but
Yeah, then
he's probably coming back.
Utah, if Cam Rising stays, they're gonna be, one of the
Yeah,
favorites
that's
in
a
the Big
lock.
12. So Notre Dame, I think they were on a
They
bye
played
this
no, they played
weekend.
Pitt. They beat the
Oh
fucking
yeah,
shit
might as
out
well
of
have been
them.
on a bye. Yeah, I mean
I
we
had them
we
for my defensive team performance. I think they forced like 4 fucking turnovers.
that defense is
No, they
that
forced
defense is
5.
carrying them.
They forced 5. I had this Velux dude as my worst performer of the week. The dude 4 interceptions.
Four
Like
interceptions is awful.
they cooked his ass. But yeah, Sam Hartman 288 and 2 interceptions against his Pitt team with 2 wins. Like I guess going to this game it was 2-5, but that's fucking terrible. Estime is an absolute animal.
Absolutely.
He's beat the dude's built. What's the score?
It's 108, 106. Pelicans leading
Ooh.
with 12 seconds left.
Oh no. Come on, Thunder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that
yeah,
Notre
Estime's a hell of a running back.
and Notre Dame's got Clemson next week, blowout, Wake Forest blowout, Stanford blowout, so they went out. I don't see them making the playoffs with 2 losses. LSU played Army, shit on them, 62-0. Louisville, did they play this weekend? They beat Duke, that's right. Shut
Yeah,
them out.
shut him out.
That's a big win for them.
That was my most disappointing performance. Was Duke getting shut out by Louisville just based on how Duke has looked this year. For them not to even really come close against Louisville.
I had USC as my most disappointing performance, even though they won.
I mean, you could argue them
There,
almost
there
every
was like
week.
4. There's like 4 teams you
You
could
could
put
put
in here.
OU. You could put
OU, Oregon State, Utah, and then USC, I guess. Pitt, but I don't know. Pitt, they got 2 wins. You can't dog
Yeah,
on them that much.
you can't put a team that's like
I will
bad
put their
as your
quarterback
worst.
up there though. That motherfucker played like dog ass.
Who did you have for your best performance by a team?
Kansas.
Kansas. Okay, I went with Oregon. Dominating win over Utah.
I'll take the
Um,
big upset. Was the last time they beat OU? Like
97.
that's crazy. That's crazy. That's a big win for them. Did you see they threw the fucking goalpost in the lake?
Yeah, it was they were. I knew I was like they're gonna rush the field after this
Oh,
game. It's like I
100%.
knew it.
Throw that shit
Like
off.
that's one thing I hate about OU is like we don't rush the field and it's annoying. I want us to rush the field, but they're like we're too good to rush the
There's no
field.
upsets for you guys to really like rush the field for, you
I'm
know?
hoping like if we beat Bama, like when they come to Norman next year, like I'm hoping we rush
Yeah,
the field.
that'd be
That
cool.
would be cool. My game of the week was Oklahoma versus Kansas. Like as far as like entertainment value, that was probably the most entertaining game.
I had North Carolina and Georgia Tech.
See, I didn't watch that one.
I didn't either, but I watched a little bit of it. Georgia Tech,
Oh
like
my
what the
god.
fuck, bro? Like,
Oh yeah, I remember texting you. I was like, yeah, actually, no, I watched the very end of this because I remember texting you. I was like, North Carolina's about to lose again, and you're like, no fucking way.
yeah, this game wasn't even on my radar. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, North Carolina's gonna blow Georgia Tech out. Georgia Tech and Virginia just absolutely shit on North Carolina, and then Georgia Tech beat Miami. Virginia took Miami to overtime. So like North Carolina and Miami almost got embarrassed, back to back weeks by these two
Yeah,
teams, which is absolutely crazy. Like look at this fucking score. Like North Carolina is up 21-7. They let them creep back into it. They jump back out to a lead. They let them creep back in. They jump back up, and then they just fucking fold. Um, and it's like it's not even really Drake May's fault. He threw for 310, 2 touchdowns. Like that's really good. The running back, 153, 2 touchdowns. Like what the fuck are y'all doing?
so yeah, the defense is not holding up for him.
No, and yeah, Georgia Tech's. I'm kind of glad we don't play Georgia Tech this year.
They're no,
To be
they're one
honest
of
with you,
those scary,
that's a
scary teams. Haynes
no. It's
King,
4-4,
Haynes King is like so much better this year than he was at A&M last year.
23 for 30 is really good. He was my player of the week.
That's a fair argument for player of the week. I mean,
Um,
he's having a phenomenal year.
I mean, there's a couple a couple other options. I kind of wanted to go Jordan Travis, Neil Homer a little bit. I thought about Penix because I think he had 4 touchdowns as well. Let's see. I think Bo Nix had a really good game. So, but I was like, that's a big upset for Georgia Tech. I think they've beat North Carolina a couple times recently. So, they, North Carolina, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Mac
Yeah.
Brown should be fired.
I don't know if he should be fired, but
Fired.
he's almost retirement age anyway. Like you might as well just
You about to start collecting Social Security and just
line up your successor. I mean, he's like 70 something, I think. Like might
they're
as well
so
just find a
they're
successor.
back to the basement when Drake May's gone. Back to the basement. I can see them not winning a game next year,
I
realistically.
I broke my rule on accident because I forgot when I was making my player of the week. I went with Ollie Gordon with his 272 rushing yards. Normally
That's
I don't do my Heisman as player of the
yeah.
week or Heisman top five, but I forgot this
That's a
week.
good. That's a good pick. I had a double. Oh yeah, I had defensive team performance. I had Colorado, Notre Dame. I had to pick another one because Colorado like ultimately lost. But let's see who else. Missouri. Did they play?
Did
I don't think they did. I think they're on a bye.
yeah, I think they're on a bye going into Georgia,
That
which
might work out for them.
come on, I would love to see Missouri is a team that's normally not that good. I would
No,
love
they're
to see
not.
them kind of up there. It'd
Yeah.
be pretty cool.
Penn State barely beat Indiana. They probably should have lost. Did Ole Miss play? Vanderbilt. Okay. I only scored 33 on Vanderbilt. It's not nothing crazy. I'm surprised they didn't score more. Already touched on OU, Bama. Were they gonna buy?
Yeah, they were on a
Yeah.
bye going into LSU.
And then Texas played BYU, beat them like 33-7, I think. Uh, Oregon played Utah, beat shit out of them. Washington, they played. We just talked about it. Fuck.
Wait, which team?
Washington.
Washington.
They
They
play
played
Stanford.
Stanford. Yeah, Stanford very close. Yeah.
and then we played Wake Forest. Yeah, I'll touch on us, I guess. Other than what I have touched on.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming into the game, I was like, they better not score more than 17 on us. I was like, I set the bar at 17, and we held them under us. And then as I was watching the game, I was like, they shouldn't score on us at all. Uh, we came out. Jordan Travis probably should have threw a pick first drive. He like I guess their number one corner. I can't remember what the fuck that name is. He's like the eighth best corner in like college football. So like he's pretty good. They had him matched up on Keon Coleman. And we had no other receivers. Like that was it. We threw I think our first four passes were straight to Keon Coleman, like back to back to back. Um, so he was sitting on him and he was kind of locking him down a little bit, but like Jordan Travis threw like a really bad ball and like it literally went into his hands, like the cornerback. I think it was like Carson. His last name's like Carson, I think. Literally in his hands. Should have been a pick. We got very lucky. First drive. Um, Come on, he gets a rushing touchdown, and they hold us to a field goal, and then I think this might be the drive they busted like a 50-yard run.
Yeah, it looked like it was a 75-yard run from what it was saying.
Mm,
Our
am I just not see
75-yard drive is what it is.
Yeah, this one right here. This is the only reason they scored. I'm gonna attribute that to our fucking run defense. God damn it, our fucking run defense is annoying. Anybody with a decent running game is gonna put yards up on us. Like Duke did it. They didn't have a fucking quarterback and they was running all over us. Um, Boston College ran all over us. Who else? LSU was kind of running on us a little bit. I mean, I don't know. It's I can't be too critical. Like we did beat the shit out of them, but and our defense is a lot. They've played a lot better. Jordan Travis looked really good. Like I said, I would like his completion percentage to be a little better, but I I was big on our O line coming in the year, but as like I've seen more of them, like they are the most veteran O line in college football, but like I don't mean they're the best. Like they're really not like nothing crazy. Like they're
Yeah.
okay. They're I think they're a little above average, like as a collective unit. Um, I think that's also partially why we can't get Trey Benson really going on the ground. Like the dude had 55 yards rushing against Wake Forest. He hasn't been able to get going. Toafili is really kind of surpassing him as our lead back, which is weird. He's definitely evolving into a better running back, which
Yeah.
I'm happy for him because he's really good. But he's been more like our receiving back for the majority of like his time, and Trey Benson's been like the power back all last year. And Trey Benson's now like trying to like he spent like a lot of the offseason just trying to catch balls and try to work on his receiving. And it worked out for him. He took a fucking 80-yard little dump off to the house. If he can get out in space, the dude's almost untackable. He's
Yeah, I
untackleable.
was watching the game during that play because during
Uh,
the rain delay, I got to tune into this game, and I think when I first turned it on, it was maybe like 17-7 FSU, and then by the time the OU game like turned came back on, the score was like 31 to like 10 or something crazy like
probably
that.
probably 31-7 right here.
Yeah. I was like, wow, that escalated quickly.
Yeah. And then yeah, we'd had a stat where we hadn't allowed like a single point in the second half, like all of the month of October, which was like really cool. And that was like a big thing for us. And then we come in here and we let up some fucking garbage time, touch like points in the third and fourth quarter. Yeah, granted that's the starters and majority out at that point. It's what 34-10. So it is what it is. But we are kind of like right there on that top five offense defense in the entire country. I think we're the only team in like the top 12, the top five on offense and defense, which is cool. Our defense is kind of picking it up, but it's kind of hard to really value that because we haven't really been playing anybody like super crazy other than like Duke recently, which they gave us all we could fucking handle. And we did find the way to win, so I'm happy. And I'm very happy with this game. I'm just trying to I'm just trying to find holes in the overall
I mean,
performance
there's
of the team.
positive and negatives to
Yeah.
every performance.
Time of possession's completely even, and we absolutely shit on them across the board, which is fine. We score very quick. We run our offense very fast. One thing I don't know why the fuck we are not using Jaheim Bell more. That dude is a absolute monster.
Yeah,
He
every
can,
every time I see him in there, he's making plays.
but I don't know. We don't use him until like the second half when I'm like, what are we doing? Like he can run, he can play
Could
running back.
catch. He could catch.
He
Yeah.
can play tight. He's a tight end ultimately, but and then he can fucking catch. He's basically a receiver, running back, tight end. I'm sure the motherfucker can probably throw too. Uh, he can probably play defense as well. I wouldn't be surprised. So he's like a Taysom Hill almost, but not a quarterback. If I had to equate it to somebody,
Yeah.
I I really don't understand why we're not using him more. It's very frustrating, especially in this game when we don't have any of our receivers other than Keon Coleman. But speaking of Keon Coleman, that motherfucker is crazy. He is very, very good. We got very lucky getting him. Because if we didn't have him, I don't think we would be undefeated, to be honest with you. Like Johnny Wilson's been hurt like 3 games. Other than that, like we ain't really got anybody crazy.
And Coleman, if I'm not mistaken, he was the one that had the big catch in the Clemson game that pretty much sealed the deal for Florida State.
Yeah, I think so. So we got very lucky pulling him out of the transfer portal. Transfer portal. Mike Norvell is kind of leading the tip of the spear on that. I feel he's been hitting the transfer portal heavy, and he's very good at it. Like I said, pretty much all of our best players are from the transfer portal. Granted, Jordan Travis was already there when he got there, but Jared Verse, Keon Coleman, I think Trey Benson's from the portal. A couple of our better defensive players. So
Yeah, he's been hammering out the portal, and we have this conversation, early in the season, like Florida State just needs to get hot at the right time, and it looks
and
like
we're
Florida
getting
State is getting hot. It's just, does Florida State, take the foot off the gas when they're playing these, lesser opponents is the question.
I don't think so. I think really the only two we got to worry about is Miami and Florida. We got Miami at home. Should be a blowout. Should be. But it's fucking Miami. Our rivals play us like it's a goddamn Super Bowl every time, every year. It's very annoying. They just like to
Yeah.
ruin our fucking season. And I absolutely hate it. But uh these could be primetime games. If they're night games, I think we 100% come in, especially this Miami game, and we suffocate them. If it's an early game like 11, it could be a problem. I'm not expecting us to lose though. North Alabama, if we don't score like 70 on them, I'm gonna be upset. Pitt, if we don't score 45 minimum, I'm gonna be upset. Shutout. They don't even have. I don't even think they have a quarterback. They're on like their fucking fourth string or some shit. So, and they got smothered by Notre Dame. So if we ain't doing something similar, gonna be upset. Florida is really the biggest.
It's at the swamp, and that's gonna be
That's a
tough.
swamp, but like they've been getting beat at home all year. Um, I don't see why we can't go in there, but it's literally an in-state rival. It's arguably our biggest rival. It don't matter how they've been playing all year. It don't matter their record. It's gonna be a tough game. Like we barely beat them last year, and they weren't super good last year either. So, uh, I don't know. It's scary, but I'm expecting us to win out. I'm very very confident, and I'm gonna fucking cry. I'm going. I will probably shed tears in a game if we lose before the playoffs. If we make the playoffs and we lose, so be it.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, I mean, the thing with
I just want to
the
make the playoff.
the committee has such a recency bias that if you lose one of these games,
We will
you
not make it.
you might not probably not getting in unless
It's too
Louisville is
late.
very highly ranked when you go into that game.
We would.
If you're gonna lose one, you
It would have
prefer
to be Florida.
Miami.
No, Miami's an ACC team. We don't want to lose to them.
Yeah, but it'd give you more time to get yourself back
Yeah,
up there in the
because
committee's
Duke and
eyes.
North Carolina both got two, I think, conference losses. So like we could afford to lose to Miami, and if we would win out other than that, but we probably still won't make it. That would be a bad loss for us compared to some of these other teams with one loss, like Alabama with their one loss being to Texas. Um, Jesus Christ. Oregon's one loss being to Washington. OU, like, I don't know. Those might be on a similar Miami, Kansas. I think Kansas is definitely better than Miami record wise. So that loss would probably be worse than y'all's. Uh, it'd be worse than Ole Miss's loss, worse than Penn State's. It would be worse than all these one loss teams. Loss. We would have the worst loss for all the one loss teams.
Yeah.
Probably at that point.
I was looking at, how they have like highest percentage chance to make the playoffs. And,
We're
it was
sitting,
OU until we lost, but now Florida State's two
yeah, behind Ohio State.
behind Ohio State.
So
So
I guess they're assuming Ohio State beats Michigan, which is, eh,
it's not a guarantee. And
no, it's not.
I think it's at Michigan too, which, makes it even more difficult.
That's
Uh,
in
but
an
they
ideal
should win.
world for us. Michigan gets fucked by the NCAA bowl ban. They beat Ohio State, tick them out with them, so they're both out, which would be cool. Georgia probably wins out. I hope they don't, but they probably do.
They
I
got
could see them.
Missouri, Ole Miss, and possibly Alabama or
Yeah.
LSU, the winner of that
So
game.
if they're gonna lose, to be in the SEC championship, and if they lose that game, they're probably still in anyways. I guess we're already assuming Washington loses. Um, so then it's a battle of one-loss teams, other than Alabama, because it would be like Florida State, Alabama, Georgia, and then it's like a battle for fourth with like the rest of the teams that have losses. So you guys really need Texas to not lose another game, Oregon to drop one more. Ole Miss will probably drop one more. And that's really all you need. It's like Oregon to drop one more and Washington to just lose once.
Yeah, and then we and as long as Texas keeps playing good, and then
Yeah.
if Kansas like keeps winning and they
Yeah.
finish like top 15,
That
maybe even
looks
top 10,
looks way
that
better.
would look really good. I think the nightmare scenario as far as like OU making the playoffs is Georgia losing to Bama in the conference title, because then they're both
They're both
making
in.
it. And then it's going to be really really hard because you're going to have Florida State, who's, most likely going to be in there. And then like if we assume Washington loses, like Oregon needs to lose another one or they'll probably still get in there.
Yeah, because their one loss would be to unless Washington just lose. If Washington loses one more than one, you guys would get in over Oregon because that
That
one
wins not that yeah,
that loss to Washington starts getting like really bad,
that is true.
which is very possible, very possible. But it's tough because they got fucking argued with the best player in college football at quarterback.
It
So
starts getting real tricky once like for the one loss teams, everything's really just in a like you don't know what's gonna happen with them.
we'll just hop into the schedule for this week. We'll see if anything can shake out because this is actually a pretty interesting week. I kind of glanced at it on accident scrolling through Facebook earlier.
Yeah, I
I think
actually
today
really
or
don't know
yesterday.
anything about this week, aside from my game.
Yeah, we're still on that college football every day till like late November. So every day there's college games, which is cool. Um, Nothing too crazy. I think it was probably a good game. Northern Illinois, Central Michigan.
Yeah.
So we got. None of those games really matter. Doesn't matter. K State of Texas. People think K State can potentially beat Tech. It's possible. It's definitely possible.
I think it's gonna be a lot closer. Like I don't think Texas is just gonna blow them out like they did
I don't think
BYU
so
last
either.
week. I think it's probably gonna be like, I don't know, maybe like a 35-24 or something like
Yeah.
that.
I'm
Texas though.
definitely not betting on that game because I think the spread for like Kansas is like 4 for them to cover. And I don't think it's that close. Either way, if K State wins, they might win by 3, but if they're gonna lose it, it's gonna be more than 3 or 4. And then Ole Miss could be interesting. Ole Miss could lose. And again,
A&M's been,
they're
quietly
weird. They're just a random
decent this
team.
year. Um Again, this is not what A&M hired Jimbo for. I think, the you got
God
to get
damn
rid
it.
of him at the end of the year. I don't know how you keep him.
Regardless of how much you owe that man. Regardless. Like look at the
But
Raiders. They owe goddamn John Gruden and Josh McDaniels 80 million collectively, and neither of them are on the team. 80 million.
that's what I'm saying. Like if you want to win, you gotta eat the money and part ways because
Ask
you're
the boosters for more.
winning is gonna get you guys all that money back if you win.
Absolutely. You gotta cut the loss has to be this year. You can't keep doing this. It's every year. Every year since he's been there, they keep dropping. I seen a stat. He's basically got the same like win loss record as Kevin Sumlin at this point of their career. Like, and they let him go.
And
But
his
again, granted, they
yeah,
didn't give him a big ass contract, but
Jimbo's expectations were way high. He was supposed to be an upgrade, and he's not.
he was supposed to take him to the championship. But Notre Dame at Clemson, anything's possible. But I don't see Clemson beating this Notre Dame. Not this Clemson team beating this Notre Dame team. It,
I
it
don't see
is.
that.
It is in Death Valley. That place is fucking terrible to play. But they might not even sell out the fucking stadium. Like they're very bad
Yeah.
this year. So the fans might not
11 a.m. games though are typically like
crazy.
where you see your upsets. Because I mean you got to wake up and play football. It's kind of like
Yeah.
I don't know. 11 a.m. games are weird. I think Notre Dame probably beats them by like 21.
Arizona State at Utah, potential upset alert.
I
Arizona
mean
State,
Utah's could have a hangover game.
Dax. Georgia Tech at Virginia could be a crazy fucking game because these two teams have been giving everybody problems. I would actually want to watch this game. Army Air Force, I will try to watch. It's on CBSSN. I don't even know if I'm gonna get that game. Missouri at Georgia is probably the biggest game of the weekend. 2:30. There's 2:30 slot. It seems like it's been stacked every weekend. We play
Yeah,
Pitt. Doesn't matter. You guys, we got Bedlam at the same time, so those are probably the two games I'm watching. That's upset alert. Both of those two teams. So we got three. We got three teams on potential upset alert already.
yeah, and I mean,
Uh,
can Maryland pull off the upset against Penn State?
I hope. Fuck it. Why not?
It doesn't seem impossible.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't be that scared to throw a parlay with Maryland winning that game
I would be really happy with Maryland winning that game because, like,
for
let's
sure.
say Maryland beats Penn State and then Penn State beats Michigan. That loss looks worse for Michigan at that point.
They'd be out at that point.
Then you got
Um,
Iowa. I don't know if you heard about Iowa's.
yeah, their fucking offensive coordinators getting fired at the end of the year.
He's done at the end of the year, and I believe that's
It,
the head coach's son, which is
it,
is, is kind of crazy.
he didn't meet his contract. That is trash. Their offense fucking sucks.
Good,
Um,
good things for Iowa coming up. Maybe we'll see.
I doubt it.
James Madison not ranked, even though they're undefeated.
Yeah, I hammered a parlay. Did I send you my the big
Yeah,
one I
you
made?
did.
Yeah,
You did. Yeah.
I'm riding James Madison till the wheels fall off, like I was doing Texas State. They did me good for a couple weeks. Um,
Can Cal
Washington
pull off
at
the upset?
USC. I think Washington's on upset alert here. I could see Washington lose this game, and I could see him lose like by a good bit.
This is USC's best chance at redemption here.
Yeah, for sure. And then LSU at Bama, and
I think
then
LSU wins it.
I do too. I'm going 2 years in a row. I've already locked in my LSU upset pick on my parlay. I don't see how Alabama outscores them. Jayden Daniels is playing on a phenomenal level. As long as like the defense just doesn't like absolutely override. Like I don't know how good that Bama's defensive line is, but as long as LSU's line can hold up and he gets time, he's gonna cook. And
Bama hasn't
Alabama
had.
doesn't score like that. They don't score like that.
They've only had to play two good offenses this year.
That was Tennessee, and they were down
Or
kind of
three, I
big,
guess. Tennessee, Ole Miss, and
yeah.
Texas,
And they
and
lost.
they lost to Texas.
Yeah, they should have lost to Ole Miss. I don't know what the fuck they were doing.
Ole Miss just had a really bad game offensively, and I'm wondering like, can Bama shut down LSU's offense the same way they shut down Ole
Yeah,
Miss's offense?
I can see LSU coming in, going up big in the first half, and then Alabama just making adjustments and finding a way to squeak it out. I could absolutely see that. I hope not.
If
If
Bama
it,
wins this game, I'm thinking Nick Saban, Coach of the Year. I know, like
yeah, for sure.
you don't normally give it to a guy that's been around that long, but I mean, this is his best coaching job if he wins
If
this
they win
game.
this game, I don't see why they don't win the championship.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, as annoying as it is, Um, Miami NC State's kind of a sleeper, decent game. NC State did just beat Clemson. Miami got taken to overtime against Virginia. I mean, I know it's not a high profile game, but I think it could be pretty interesting. We got Oregon State at Colorado. Oregon State DJ is not playing like crazy good, but he's doing enough. Oregon State has a solid defense. Can Colorado find a way to compete? I could see them win. I could see it, but
I can never count Colorado out just with all the weapons they have, but like
there's no chance.
I'm losing more and more faith in Colorado as the weeks go on. Like
Yeah,
I don't think they're gonna make a bowl game this year, unfortunately, which really sucks. Because I mean they're only 2 wins away, but it's like two really
yeah.
tough wins that
And
they have
then
to squeak in.
UCLA at Arizona. I got Arizona winning this game.
I got Arizona winning every game they're playing in.
Granted, UCLA's defense is really good, but Arizona's offense is also really good, and their defense is playing pretty solid. It seems like they come in and they just have an answer for every offense they're coming up against. So I don't, and they're at home.
If they started the season off with Fafita, I mean, I don't. They could be like a
They could
top
be
15
undefeated.
team. Yeah,
Like they could be undefeated. So and all the games that they've lost have been nothing. They ain't been getting crazily blown out. So
they almost beat Washington, almost beat USC. They beat Oregon State.
yeah,
I think they're gonna beat UCLA.
yeah, barely lost to Washington. Was that 7 touchdown loss to Mississippi State? 2 loss or 2 point loss to USC. Like that's fucking nuts. And then they've won every game other than that.
And two of
And
them is against ranked at the time. Washington State ranked at the
and
time
then
they beat their ass.
Fafita didn't come in until this
Washington was
Washington
his first
game.
game.
So ever since then, they've been super competitive. And then, so if they win this game, they definitely beat Colorado. I think they definitely beat. I think they win out. If they win this game, I think they win out.
They
And they're
finished in the top 25 if they win this game.
oh,
They're
100%.
easily a top 25 team. And
So
then,
they're
did you see the ticket prices for that? Like, imagine being like that is such a
$17.
great football game for the lowest price to be $17. Like, that is ridiculous.
If I'm in Arizona, I'm going to the game.
The people in like the West Coast just don't appreciate football like that. Like their stadiums are always empty, and it's like
Yep.
you guys are getting like you guys not understand like what you're watching right now for some of these games. Like these are great games. You got tickets as low as $3 for Mississippi State and Kentucky.
Nice.
Uh,
That's like almost free. That's a free football game basically. So what do you got? Like 5 teams on upset alert this weekend. UCLA, that's a
yeah,
guaranteed upset alert.
Oregon
That's like
State.
a 40% ish.
I don't know.
Alabama,
Would you consider Bama an upset? Like if they lose to
yeah,
LSU?
I think so.
Yeah, then they're definitely on upset
So
alert.
that's 2. Washington
Washington.
3. Kansas. That's kind of Iowa State's solid this year. I would
I,
consider this an upset.
I was part of that 5 team tie for first
Yeah,
place in the
I
Big
would
12.
consider this an upset if they beat Kansas. So 4. We didn't even touch on that going through.
Yeah, and then I mean
Da, da, da,
you
da.
obviously got OU, OSU, and Georgia,
So
Missouri.
we're at 4, 5, 6.
Even Arizona State, you could maybe make that case. Kansas State,
7. Yeah, we got like 7 teams on upset alert this weekend. So like the rankings could be completely shaken up. I might do a fucking parlay on just all these teams getting upset just in one because it's very, very possible. I don't
this
know.
is gonna be this like I feel like
Or
we
it,
say
or
this
it
a
could
lot
be
of
a very
weekends.
just very boring weekend, and nobody gets upset. Which
It
last
looks
weekend was
like
a little boring.
it's gonna be like one of the better weekends. Yeah, last weekend, like aside from the Kansas beating OU,
It was
everything
a
else
little
pretty much just
lackluster.
kind of went exactly how you thought. Well, North Carolina got beat, but like as
Oh,
far as like
true.
relevant playoff contenders, there wasn't a
Yeah.
lot of action going on there. Uh, Setting up a really good week. I'm excited for it. Should be able to watch most of the games.
I'm hoping. I hope last weekend I was like, oh yeah, I'm watching some games, but I got to watch like 2. I went to watch like Florida State, and then what was the other game I watched? What was the other big? What was the biggest game for this past weekend?
Was it
Oh no,
Oregon Utah?
OU Kansas. I watched Florida State. Wake Forest, OU, Kansas. Now after
Oh
that,
yeah,
I
because
was
OU Kansas was like
got
a 7 hour long game. So yeah,
yeah.
you probably got to watch all the Florida State game, and then the OU game was still going on.
And then and then in like the third quarter of that OU Kansas game, I started getting like a really fucking terrible headache, and I was like, I can't watch anymore. Like my shit's fucking throbbing. I ended up having to go take a nap.
I was just like in distress the whole game.
I feel so bad, man. I was like, dude, I was like, I'm sorry. Like
That
I felt
last throw, I was just like, come on, Dylan, like Sooner Magic, and then like nothing. I was like, no.
I was heartbroken for you.
I wasn't as upset because once I started thinking about it, I'm like, Kansas is going to be ranked. Hopefully, we don't drop far, and we didn't. So, like, we have 5 weeks to move up 4 spots. So, I don't think that's
no.
not yeah.
Well,
Like
luckily they didn't handicap the fuck out of y'all and drop you. Like some people when they lose to an unranked team, they punish the fuck out of them.
sometimes we dropped to like 15, 16.
Yeah. If you guys
I was
drop
like,
that
as long as I
far,
thought
that
as long as we're 12-0, we're probably good.
I think so. I'm just ready for the 12 team playoff. Like fuck one loss. Like that shit's trash. Like come on, man.
I
I
think
want
that's part of the reason because like I'm saying, like fans, like if they don't miss the playoffs, it's like the season's like a waste, and they don't get as invested. Next year,
like if the
team could
season
maybe
ended
lose two.
today, like this, that's a crazy 12. Like you'd have Ohio. I guess what would they do? First two teams by.
Yeah, I think instead of Missouri, it would be
Well, it would be this exact 12, but like
it'd be everything except for the like Tulane or Air Force would be in over Missouri, I think, at the moment.
yeah, something like that. So it would be like Air Force and Michigan, Florida State, Penn State, Washington, Ole Miss. That'd be a fucking absolute shootout. You guys would be playing Oregon and then Texas, Bama again. Like if the season ended today and we was rocking, like that should be so cool. Like those are teams that never play each other ever. Like when the fuck when have you guys ever played Oregon?
We played them like maybe 3 or 4 times. Like we played them in the Alamo Bowl a
Yeah,
couple years
hardly
ago,
ever.
and then the Holiday Bowl like 2005.
When has Air Force ever played fucking Michigan? Probably never.
It'd be cool because
It,
I'm pretty sure that game would be at Air Force. Like I think the group of five team gets like the first game at home.
that's cool for them because I mean they are like the inferior team. Like you might as well give them a little bit of an advantage.
Like an upset like that in the playoffs, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, fuck. They'd never live that shit down.
Like you would see storm in the field like you've never seen in your life after an upset like that.
Yeah. And it's also just beneficial. Like you could drop 3-4 games and still win your conference, still make the playoff, get hot. Imagine a four last team winning the national championship. Goddamn, they would be like, we got to go back to four immediately. People
Yeah,
would be calling for it the day that shit, the second that game ended. It
yeah,
would be fucking a catastrophe for college football.
I think the Big Ten they're switching to where it's just the top two teams because of that. They don't want like Wisconsin or Iowa or somebody getting in the playoff. They're just gonna make it to where it's either gonna be Michigan, Ohio State, or Penn State every year
Well,
out of their conference.
I guarantee you, Penn State ain't ever winning the Big Ten with the four new teams coming in there. They're never. It's never happening.
They need
I,
to. I think they need to make a change at head coach.
yeah, I
He's a good
agree.
coach, but he's just not a guy that's going to get you over the
Nope.
top. He's better off at a place, mid level that doesn't have super high expectations.
I don't know what the fuck Michigan's gonna do because he's gone. There's like a 0% chance he stays.
So I
Like
was looking into that.
Raiders,
Minnesota's head coach has the highest chances of taking over the Michigan job, which I thought was a little weird. PJ
that's a
Fleck.
PJ Fleck. Yeah, okay. He's turned that Minnesota team around. Like I remember like the first year they got there, I think he did pretty solid. Like Minnesota's been kind of a little relevant. Like he's good.
Urban Meyer, I think, has the second highest, which that would be crazy if he went to Michigan after being Ohio State's coach. Ohio State's fans would hate
He
him.
he's not going there with all that shit that they got going on. Like why would you go there and then not be able to play for anything?
Yeah,
Like
it depends on how long their bowl ban is. I'm assuming it's going to be a year or two.
Yeah, so
Um,
why you're gonna have to you might as well rock an interim for 2 years and then hope some you guys are semi-relevant in those 2 years and somebody wants to go there. 'Cause Michigan might be fucked for like the next 5, 6 years.
if they even get in trouble,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I could see literally nothing happening. I could see it
Well,
because they're a favorite to win the national championship.
there's like a loophole. There's this guy I watch. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He has like such a weird like niche channel. He talks about college football, and then he has all these like 9/11 videos. That's like it's just so weird. But
Yeah,
it's cool. Like it's a cool channel.
I fuck with
But
it.
he was basically saying like Michigan's like trying to figure out this loophole where they could just pin this whole thing on Connor Stallions himself, which I don't know how you could get away with that because there's no way Connor Stallions funded all of this
No,
on
he
his
he
own.
doesn't make enough like according to his annual fucking pay, unless he's getting paid under the table, which he probably was, or using a fucking Michigan funded credit card. Like it's literally impossible. Dude would not be able to live.
Yeah, that's what and they're trying to say. Like, well, if they pin it all on Connor Stallions, then maybe they could get out of the whole thing. But I'm like,
I think
I don't think
regardless,
that's
he's on your
possible.
fucking team. Like you should be hit with something. Like the team should suffer in some form or fashion. You let the motherfucker sit there on the team. You had to have known. Had to have. Somebody had to have known.
I
There's
mean, how else is Michigan like they know the signals, so like he communicated this with everybody, like
yeah, somebody knows. Like
the players know the
imagine
signals, like
imagine you're him and okay, just for a second, imagine it. Like you're Connor Stallions and you're making all these trips and you're like, I know what they're calling. I know what they're calling. You're not just gonna keep that shit to yourself. You can be like, I know it. I know. You're gonna be like fucking talking about it. You're gonna talk to somebody. You're not just gonna sit there and be like, this is a pass. Nope, see, told you. Oh, they're about to run it. Oh, they did. Oh, this is a screenplay. It called it. Like you're not just gonna sit there and be like, yeah, I'm just calling, I'm just pretty good, you know. Like that's not happening. You're not just sitting there and you're just like, yep, I'm kind of good. No, it's not. Literally, like like, if I was him, I'm like, I know all the shit. I'm fucking good. I'm good. I can break the code. Like you're telling somebody, you're trying to get promoted, you're trying to fucking make some money, like you're trying to benefit in this in some way. You're not just gonna sit on this.
oh yeah,
It's
no,
it's
he was definitely trying.
there's
I don't know if
no
you
way
I don't know if you heard about his 25-page manifesto
he wanted
about
to be
how
like a
he's gonna be
Michigan
the
head.
head coach of Michigan.
Not
That's out the
now,
window
buddy.
now.
Imagine they fire Harbaugh and they're like, let's hire him.
Connor
We'll
Stallions, he showed the commitment,
we'll
the
take the bowl
dedication.
ban, but we're gonna rock with him. That'd be crazy. Yeah, fuck, get the fuck out of here. It's there's no way.
We've never seen like cheating. I think this might be like the craziest cheating scandal like ever.
And like I wouldn't say pro because it's college football is like almost professional sports at this point. Like even in professional sports, like the closest thing would be the fucking Spygate from the Pats or the sign stealing from the Astros, and that's it.
And yeah, and
That's
Spygate was only like 3 or 4 games type, not an
yeah.
entire season.
Or the
Um,
deflate gate, and even that wasn't a lot. The cell phone thing, but like even those were like just small, like couple games. This is crazy. This is like years worth. This is like 3 years worth of shit.
there's no way they don't get hammered down on. I
And
don't think
then
they should even be allowed to make the playoffs this year.
and then like I said, like the fucking Rutgers coach was like in the game, like at halftime, he was like, "Yo, like there's some shit going on." Like I mean, not like directly, but he's like, there's something going on out there. Like
Yeah, I saw that, like the halftime interview or
yeah,
whatever.
like there's that. TCU's came out and it was like we knew they were fucking. They knew we knew that they knew what our shit was, and
And
we
they
called.
changed their signals. Yeah,
Yeah, like that's a lot. You know what I mean? Like maybe looking back, they were just like, yeah, fuck Michigan. We're just gonna say that. Like that could be a thing, but I don't know.
I mean, it is interesting though. Like if TCU really did change their signals, it's interesting. That's the one game they lost where a
If they
team
if
caught
they
onto it and changed.
if they can prove that they knew and they changed. Like that could be something.
Because I mean that's significant. Because then it shows like maybe that is what's making Michigan so good.
Yeah.
Because if a team like figures it out and then they don't know their signals, then they lose the game where they don't know the signals. Like that's crazy.
I wonder. Let's do. Okay, so say this year they knew all this. Oh, what the fuck is this? 22. Why is this set up like this?
It does that to me every now and then. It'll just pull up like that's like their current
Jesus Christ.
schedule.
What about this? Okay, well, we'll look at 2022. Let's say they came in this year, they knew everybody's shit. They blew Colorado State out. Okay, sure. Colorado State blew Hawaii out. Okay, UConn. Okay, close game. 21's a blowout. Blew Penn State out. Blew Michigan State out. Rutgers sucks. Cool. Nebraska sucks. Checks out. Illinois had a fucking fantastic defense last year, so that yeah, I don't know, maybe blew Ohio State out? Question mark, maybe. And the Big Ten championship beat the shit out of Purdue, and then they lost to TCU. So I don't know. It was pretty dominant that year. And then it's looking like they're saying it went back 3 years. So would that be 2021 or 2022? 2020.
Yeah, I mean, in 21 was the first year they made the playoffs. So if it's gone back every year they made the playoffs, that's really interesting as well.
See, blowout, blew Washington out, blowout, barely beat Rutgers. Weird. Blowout, I would say. Barely beat
Close.
Nebraska. Blowout. I think this was the year. It's the COVID year that Northwestern made the fucking Big Ten championship.
This was the year after the COVID year. Yeah,
Okay.
2020 was the COVID year.
Somehow lost to Michigan State. Blowout. Barely won. Blowout, and then another blowout, and then they lost to Georgia.
Did you see Kirby Smart was like, I saw no evidence of them doing that, basically. Meaning like they
Yeah,
suck either way.
fucking savage. So like, I mean, like this year, it definitely like there's a lot that kind of like I okay, they could be really that good. That is a possibility. I would say maybe like 60% out of 100. They're just that good. They're just blowing all these teams out. But 40% like at statistically, like looking back at their past years, like they're giving up points to all these teams like more than they are now. And I think these past years they had better defenses.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because they had what's his name, Aiden Hutchinson, I believe it was his 21 year.
yeah, both of those fucking dudes that play on the Lions on the D line, they had both of those dudes.
And they're giving up more than yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
fishy.
It's just like I don't know. And then this year they're fucking just like unstoppable. 3, 7, 6, 7, 7, 10, 7, 0. Like what? I don't know. That defense is not that good. That defense is not the defense that they've had. I don't think it is. Offense wise, everything above 30. 50, 30, 20, pretty much averaging 30 to 40 a game. Yeah, okay, maybe they hadn't ironed it out yet, but their defense is still kind of pretty good. This is the year that they had the juggernaut defense. Like this defense was absolutely nasty, and like they're still getting scored on a little bit. This year, not at all. They're not getting scored on at all. It's something they don't check out, and they get a
Granted,
worse
like the
they
teams
get
they play this year suck so far.
that too, and then I think they have a worse like offensive personnel too. Like, and they're averaging almost fucking 40 a game. I don't know. It just seems weird.
I think it's a combination of like they are really that good, but
They've played
but
nobody, and they know
but they
everybody's
and
shit.
they're cheating. So it's like a combination of like I think they are good,
Yeah,
I
they
just
are
don't know
good.
if
They are
they're
good.
this good without cheating. Are they
I
this dominant?
shit.
Maybe they haven't played anybody yet. We don't know.
We may never know. We may never know.
I mean, I think we'll know if they drop to Penn State. That'd be a big indicator. If they lose to Ohio State, I don't know. It's kind of
Hey,
hard at that point.
if I'm Michigan, I lose Penn State on purpose. Cheat the rest of the shit. Blow Ohio State out of the fucking water. Win the Big Ten championship in the playoffs. Like, oh, if we were cheating, why did we lose to Penn State?
Yeah, I mean that's not a bad idea.
You know what I'm saying? Like Penn State's terrible. They're bad. They're very bad offense. And you be like, oh, their defense was just really good. They just McCarthy had a bad game. You like maybe not tell the entire team. You just like you go Justin McCarthy. Like let the defense go ball out. Whatever. Hope they don't win the game for
Like,
you.
hey, throw a pick or two.
Yeah,
Like,
lose this game for us.
what if like they did that and then it came out like it just got even worse?
At that point, fuck it. But yeah, if I'm Michigan, I'm losing Penn State on purpose because you can afford to lose Penn State, sit at 11, and then turn around, beat Ohio State, who's at number 1, turn around, play Ohio State again. No, they wouldn't play Ohio State again.
They would play most likely it looks like it's going to be
That'd be tough because
Wisconsin or
if
Iowa.
they lose to Penn State and they beat Ohio State, like it's like a weird head-to-head thing. Like they've beat Ohio State, but Ohio State beat Penn State, but they lost to Penn State, so it's like a
Yeah,
weird
they can't afford to lose Penn State because
it.
Penn State I think would maybe get in.
If they lose to Penn State, it'd have to be like maybe a closer margin than Ohio State
How
beat
do you
them.
break that tie if all three of them go 1-1? Like I
I don't
don't even
know.
know how that works. Is it like the highest ranked? Because I know one year, uh, like Texas had beat OU, but like OU beat Tech, and then like Texas lost to Tech, and it was like whoever was the highest BCS was the one that got in the title game.
I think it really goes down to like points scored, points allowed type thing.
Some weird mathematical like formula.
If that's the case, lose to Penn State as close as possible, like 3, if you can swing it type thing. I don't know. If
I'm about to look that up to see like who
I gotta
get how
pee.
do
I
they
gotta
break the
pee again.
tie?
You do that.
Yeah, I'll look that up. Who gets in if Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State go 1-1 with each other? I'm curious to see. Okay, somebody actually wrote an article about it. So, what happens if Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan all finish 1? So, it looks like they're summing up the season. Big Ten tiebreakers if Ohio State and they're all 11-1. Let's walk through. The first of the 4 tiebreakers would come into play if one of those teams loses outside the round robin. So the records of 3 or more tie teams will be compared based on winning percentage in games between the tie teams. The record of the 3 or more tie teams will compare based on winning percentage within their division. The records of the 3 teams will be compared against their highest placed teams in their division. The records of 3 or more teams will be compared based on winning percentage against all common conference opponents. So I still don't understand. The records of the 3 or more teams will be compared based on the best cumulative conference winning percentage of non-divisional opponents. Wow. Okay, that's
Sorry,
still
I have the
there's
bladder
like
of a 12-year-old when I'm drinking.
man, it's like it is so complicated to see who wins. So basically, there's like 5 different ways they break the tie. So the records of the 3 tied will be compared based on winning percentage in games between the tied teams. So like between each of the teams, like who
And
won.
yeah, against each
But
other.
if they're all 1-1, that's out the window. So
Okay.
after that, the records of the 3 tied teams will be compared based on their winning percentage within their division. Which in that
We should
case,
be
I think
tied.
it'd be tied.
State all 3 have a Big 12 loss against each other.
Then it says the records after that, it's the records of the 3 will be compared against the next highest placed teams in their divisions in order of finish. So
Probably Iowa, Minnesota.
I don't then it says the records of the team, the last one will be compared based on winning percentage against all common conference opponents, and they'd be tied on everything. And then like the last one they have, the records of the teams will be compared based on the best winning percentage of non-divisional opponents. So that's probably what will break it. So whoever played the
It
most like
wouldn't be
non-division, yeah,
fucking Michigan because they're you saying most out of conference games or like
most out of division because they're all in the same division. So it's
all
whoever beat the highest ranked
out of conference?
of the other division in the
Well,
Big Ten.
Michigan ain't got shit, so they'd be out. Fucking Ohio State has Notre Dame, so
No, within the conference, but in the other division. So
oh, like since
I think
they're
Ohio
all in
State
like
would
the
still get
East or
in
whatever, so they
because
yeah
Ohio
okay
State beat Wisconsin. I think that'd be a higher.
yeah. But
Uh,
it's looking like Minnesota is probably gonna fucking be the one in the West to play.
yeah, so maybe Michigan gets in. It really just depends on what those other
And
teams
I think
do.
Ohio State plays Minnesota this weekend, right?
They might, they might. I think we kind of
We might have just glossed over it. Yeah, they played
Rutgers.
Rutgers.
So
They
I mean,
played
they have
Minnesota.
Wisconsin. Maryland's in that same division, I think.
Uh,
Big Ten East.
all right. So conference wise, 3-2, 3-2, 3-2, 3-2. So there's like a four-way tie in that one.
It's gonna get so
Uh,
complicated.
I don't see Nebraska or Wisconsin because Wisconsin, their quarterback got a broken hand, so he's out probably for a hot bit. Nebraska just fucking sucks. So it's looking like Iowa, Minnesota, and then Michigan's already beat the shit out of Minnesota. So Ohio State would have to beat the shit out of Minnesota. Do they?
Penn State beat Iowa pretty convincingly.
They don't even play Minnesota, so there's that. And then Ohio State still has to play Minnesota. So like say Minnesota wins, it would probably go off of like whoever beat Minnesota the best. And they beat them like 52-10 or something. So and Ohio State really ain't scoring a lot, which they should be.
You
I
would
know
think
that
Ohio State would have like the best offense in the country, but they
I know that
really,
fucking Wisconsin game. I was like, yeah, they're gonna win like 45-10, and fuck no,
yeah.
they
Because
did.
I remember last week I was like, I think Wisconsin could do it, and you're like, there's a -% chance. They played them pretty close. Like,
Yeah, they did, but I mean, they didn't win. So I mean, I guess I was correct, but in some form, um, I'll buy. I know we're dogging on Michigan a lot, but all bias and everything aside, if all this shit's happening at OU, like, because it's your team, all this is happening, like y'all are accused of doing all of this. Like this is you guys. You guys are undefeated. You guys are ranked 3. And there's all this suspected cheating. Like you got Connor Stallions on your team. You got Venables is like supposedly he doesn't know whatever. Like what how are you feeling?
probably like the same way Michigan. I mean, I've already been through this as a Patriots fan. Like,
But this is different. This is way different.
this is
This is.
way different. I mean, like,
I would be fucking pissed
I'd be pissed
as
at
a
the
fan.
staff.
Yeah, as a
I'd be mad. I'd be mad. I'd be like, fire him. You know what? I'd be like, fire
because
Venables, just to get him out of here.
I can see both sides of it. Like I could see like the Michigan fans that are like, okay, nothing's absolutely concrete. We're just dominating. We're good. Like we're a good team. That's it. Like yeah, this dude he's doing it on his own. Like I can see that side of it. I can because they are a good team. But then the other side, like me personally, like if this is Norvell and our staff, I'm fucking fuming. Like I don't care we're undefeated. Like immediately get rid of them. Like today, gone. See ya.
Well, it just taints your
It
program.
taints
And
the
then
yeah.
if you're Michigan, like, yeah, you're gonna be happy if you won a national championship, but you're gonna know deep down everybody else doesn't respect it. So it's not gonna feel as gratifying because everybody is just gonna be well, you guys cheated. Like that's all you're
But
gonna
then
get.
everybody's like, oh, it wasn't proven.
I
If
could
if
see both sides of it, but like
yeah,
if it was my team,
I would be very upset.
like let's just say like there's Connor Stallions an OU staffer, and I see him on the game for like on the side like on Oklahoma State sideline or something like in OSU uniform, like studying some other game. Like I don't. I'd be pissed. I'd be really. I mean, like at a certain point,
I
like
guess you just have to hope you get away with it. Like that's like the best case scenario. You just gotta hope. Like fuck yeah, we cheated. I guess like shit. Like it wasn't me. Like I didn't fucking want us to cheat. Like it wasn't my fucking call. They didn't call me like, hey, are we cheating this year? What are we doing? Like of course you're mad, I guess, but like ain't nothing you can do about it.
no, I feel bad. Actually, I do feel bad for Michigan fans because, like, when this first came out, like your first reaction is to be like, "No, we didn't cheat," and
Yeah,
then like
it's fucking
the
stupid.
the evidence keeps coming out, and
It's
then like
piling.
like you got Connor Stallions on this possibly on the sidelines, and like it's looking like it was him just based on the fact that Central Michigan said we don't know who that is. We're investigating it. That's kind
I hope they do know who it is. And they're just like, fuck you. Like
of
they hired some dude that looks as close as they could find to him. They planted him on the sideline. That should be fucking hilarious.
some guy Ohio State paid to
Dude,
be down there.
I'm honestly like I'm curious who started this investigation because somebody started it. Somebody called somebody. Somebody told somebody something. Like I've heard Michigan boosters maybe did it because they don't like John Harbaugh. He is kind of tainting the program. Like every year, it just kind of keeps getting worse. It's like the third goddamn like controversy that surrounded him.
He was suspended
Um, yeah,
to
and he's
start
been
the
suspended
season.
already. So like I could absolutely see that it being the boosters, and I could also absolutely seeing it be Ohio State.
What if Connor Stallions was like a double agent
A
and he really
fucking
worked for Ohio State?
he graduated from Ohio State, but they like sealed the records, so like nobody knows he went to school there. It should be crazy.
I mean, those two teams hate each other probably more than any other two teams in all of college football.
I
Like
could
they
absolutely
absolutely
see it
hate
being
each other.
Ohio State if they found it like even an inkling, they'd be like on the phone immediately.
Michigan's in a bad spot because they had the recruiting violations with Harbaugh to start the season, and I don't know if you saw this thing with like one of their assistant coaches, like the FBI, like is like investigating him for some weird illegal computer access thing. I don't know what it is exactly. Um, but the FBI is investigating him, and
Well,
then you got this Connor Stallions thing going
NCAA
on.
double A might as well just have the FBI investigate this. They're already there. It might as well like pull all the computers, pull all everybody's phone records, everything.
I wouldn't be surprised if this like went as far. You know how like Deflategate like almost went to the Supreme Court. I wouldn't be surprised if
Yeah.
like Michigan like appealed it that much to the point that like that's where it went was like to the Supreme Court.
I really just hope it works itself out before the playoffs. If they're not guilty, cool, let them in. But if there's like a 60% chance you're sure that they've been cheating, like do not put them in the playoffs. Even if they're undefeated, do not fucking do it. And I would pray that they lose. Like
Yeah, there's no way, and then like in my opinion, there's no way the committee didn't like consider that when they were putting the because I bet you like because based if you look at their whole rankings, everything's based off of eye test except for Ohio State at number one, and it just makes me think like they wanted to put Michigan there, but then they're like, with all this like cheating stuff going on, we're just gonna put Ohio State at number one, so we don't have to like worry about that.
and you obviously can't put the back to back defending champs like 3, 4. Like you got to at least put them at 2. Like yeah, they haven't played nobody yet, but like they are the defending back to back champs.
Yeah, that's facts, and then
So
they're looking better every week.
and then like I said, they just fucking hate us. So like they're not gonna put us above Michigan. No fucking way. Uh,
It is really weird seeing how like the national sports media and like the committee like I don't understand like the hatred for Florida State.
I don't either. I really don't either.
Even in the BCS, like the computers hated Florida State. It was just it was just
Somebody
weird.
somewhere up there in the top doesn't like us. Maybe they're a Florida alum or something, but
The committee needs to change the way they're structured. They have athletic directors
from
on
teams
the
like in
committee.
contention,
So I supposedly this is what happens when your team gets brought up in the conversation. That athletic director has to leave the room. But I don't know.
like
Like
what is it like? He could be best fucking friends with the dude sitting next to him, and it's like, hey, vote for my school. Like I know your team's not in there, but come on, man.
one if
I'll
you're like even if you're not voting for your team, you're like, huh, this team is gonna play my team pretty soon, so I'm gonna rate them pretty high, so it makes us look better.
exactly like it's like why do you have anybody attached to any school? It should be nobody attached to any school that is remotely close to being contention for a playoff spot. Like I would understand like a fucking like a New Mexico State fucking athletic director or like something like that. Like if you're gonna go that route, but it should be no fucking buddy attached to a football program for a school.
They
And
should like it should be like the Supreme Court or something. Like it should be somebody who's supposed to be completely like unbiased.
hire some people.
Maybe they don't even know football like that. They just have a criteria.
Yeah,
Um,
that gets weird because then they're gonna be like, "Oh, Air Force is 8-0, put them in there." Like, you know what I mean? So they gotta have some, not some. They have to have a very good, uh, college football knowledge. But like once you start getting to that territory, like there ain't that many people that aren't connected to a school in some way, like whether it be a fan of a school. It's like if you watch college football, you obviously root for somebody.
or do you do something like the BCS, where it's like a mix of
The
I think the
computer
AP
and
coaches poll and the computer.
I think that would be semi-fair. Like they take the computer's top four and then they do the fucking board's top four and then they somehow make a mix of that. I don't know how that would ultimately determine like which one's gonna fit. I don't know. It's
I think
hard.
you could maybe get like four things in, like you
I,
do
I hate to say it, but like
media, coaches, fans,
I hate to say it,
computer.
but the computer's probably the best way. Like I think we've talked about it. Like if you take the BCS and you strapped it onto every year that the college football playoff has been, it would ultimately ended up the same. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
so
the,
you
the
might as well just
champion
have
would
the
have.
computer decide it.
Yeah, I think so. It's the only unbiased option. But then you can't really plug into like the computer like, oh, this team's cheating like allegedly, so like we're gonna punish them. Like that's like a
Yeah.
human bias thing. Because if you plug in everything so far, like Michigan would probably be number one just based off how dominant they've played. But then like the computer might dock them because their schedule sucks. I don't know. Because at that point it'd probably be Ohio State, Florida State, Michigan, Georgia off the computer.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I remember like the computer would be putting like a one loss above an undefeated team. I remember that would happen like quite
Yeah,
frequently,
because they're a fucking record of their schedule. Like
which
it'd be Bama because
I
they'd
don't
be
think you
fucking
could.
playing just juggernaut SEC schools, and they just dropped one, and then you're like, well, they're probably still a better team than this undefeated team. Like, I don't know. It gets weird. It's
I think
tough.
just there's just so many teams in college football. It's hard to find a system that actually works
Yeah,
and is fair. I mean, this is probably as good as we're gonna get.
that's the 12 is like a it seems perfect.
Well, and is not so much like the conference champions automatically get in, so it's just like that takes care of itself.
Yeah,
Nobody has to
when your
do
conference.
that.
That's it. Which from a lot of teams really isn't too hard. Like yeah, the Big Ten and the SEC is they're kind of getting fucked. It's gonna be very hard to win those conferences. So if you win that conference, either of those conferences, you're almost like a pretty hefty favorite just to win the whole fucking thing because you might end up winning the conference with like 2 to 3 losses. Like that fucking those conferences are gonna be stacked.
Yeah, all that large teams are probably going to be Big Ten and
Big
SEC.
12.
Big 12 is looking. They're just a weird. I don't know. I'm just curious to see how they work out because they have all these teams that look like they're going to be good, but they're never that consistent.
Yeah.
Um, like it looks like there's like maybe like five or six that can make a run at the playoffs next year.
Yeah, I don't see the ACC getting more than one in. It's just gonna be the ACC champ. Probably not another one. Big 12 champ. Probably not another one. You could end up with like three goddamn SEC schools in there. It'd be like Alabama, LSU, Georgia, consistently. I could see that
The ACC, I
somehow.
mean, they're kind of like is if Florida State and Clemson leave, they're kind of fucked.
Yeah, I don't know how we leave. Like we kind of can't leave. We're kind of stuck for
Yeah,
at least like 2 more years, I think.
I wouldn't be surprised if like both those teams left at the end of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either, but I mean, like, why would we leave now when we can
Money.
just have an automatic guarantee to make the playoffs every year?
Yeah, that's true as
We
well.
just gotta win the conference.
I don't really want to see the ACC like die out. Like I'm cool with where we're at now because we have four really good conferences. Like the Big 12 is going to be really good.
Big 12
The
is arguably going to be better than ACC.
the ACCs, you know,
ACC is going to be the bottom of the four.
yeah, because I mean you're going to have Florida State. We'll see if Clemson,
Come
bounces back.
and Miami.
Yeah, does Miami play good? Does Duke keep up their momentum? How does North Carolina look? I mean, you got a few
Ooh.
teams at the top that could maybe make a run at it.
Occasionally, you're gonna have a team, like Duke, be good occasionally, but like they're only good because they got Drake May, but he's like a prodigy, like or not. He's like a not a prodigy. He's like a legacy for Duke, or not no Duke, North Carolina. Sorry,
Like he
he's like a
has family
legacy.
members
Yeah,
that
that's
went
that's
there.
the only reason he's at North Carolina. So like shit like that would come up eventually, like occasionally, but other than that, North Carolina's a bottom feeder, mid of the pack ACC team. Miami can't get their shit together. They're a fucking middle of the pack team. Like Louisville when they had Lamar Jackson, that's a generational talent. It's bound to happen every now and again. Uh, Duke's only really good because Riley Leonard for the most part. Like, yeah, they have a fucking fantastic defense, but that's because Elko. But he's probably not gonna be there that long. He's probably gonna leave. And then Clemson, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. So they're just having a bad, they're having a bad year.
I'm just curious to see if this is like a bad year or this is a trend of like a few bad years and then Dabo's out of there. Because I would imagine like Dabo gets a pass on this year because
I think they give him like I think he could have this year, a bad year next year, and that third year he could get fired in season
yeah,
if they're similar a similar type thing.
especially if like he doesn't get with the program of what's going
But
on now.
I don't know why they would do that because they're not gonna get anything better. Like where do you go from there?
I saw somebody throw out an interesting idea that if Dabo gets fired, that's who could replace Jeff Lebby as offensive coordinator. I don't know how Dabo would feel
Yeah, that'd be
about
crazy.
like would his pride allow him to be the assistant to his old
Nah, I think
assistant?
he would retire before then. He'd probably just be done. Uh,
Well, he said the other day when he was on that fan show, he said if the school decides to fire me, so be it. I'll go somewhere else. So he sounded like he's going somewhere else if he gets fired.
I mean, he's not old. He's got a lot of years left on
He's
him
only
if
like
he
52.
if he really wants it. I mean, whether or not he takes the humiliation and goes and does an offensive coordinator job. I don't know how good he is at offensive coordinator type shit. Yeah, I mean,
I what he probably should do is just take the route all these failed coaches do.
go
Go
to
to
a fucking
Alabama, go to Alabama, be an analyst or a coordinator, and then
yeah,
just take another head coaching job the next year.
yeah, maybe spend 2 years under the Nick Saban wing and
Maybe take over Nick Saban when he retires. I don't know.
that would be actually a really good idea if I was Nick Saban. I would be on the phone maybe with Nick Saban, like or not Nick Saban with Dabo, like, hey yo, I got a spot for you. I like in private, off the record, but like, hey, I ain't got too much longer left. I wouldn't be too against leaving it to you.
Dabo
Unless,
played at Alabama.
yeah, see, there you go. That would be a fucking perfect replacement, and he would fit that team perfectly. Unless I don't know, I was gonna say Lane Kiffin, but he ain't fucking passing it to Lane Kiffin. I feel like he hates Lane
He
Kiffin.
wouldn't. He would. No, I've never seen somebody bitch out their coordinators before, except for him.
He was on Lane Kiffin's fucking ass every week.
Well, then there's the whole thing with like Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban's daughter and all that stuff going on. I'm sure that had to factor into him not liking him.
It was hilarious. Good times. Good times. What a crazy what a fucking not. It's a dog.
Scary, man.
Scary Terry.
Scary dude
Ah,
right there.
I'm so glad we played them in the first game of the week or first game of the year. So glad. Because if we played them now, I don't know how it would shake out. It wouldn't be great for us. It would be tough, very tough game.
That was a just a great win. It's still looking good. If LSU beats Bama, that win's gonna look even better.
I'm still riding that like we took the chance and we scheduled a very big, tough out of conference opponent, and nobody else is like for the most part. Like
Nobody does.
who the fuck else is scheduling like at least this year is
Bama,
scheduling?
Texas. That's it.
Yeah, and they lost, and then Texas lost. So like, and we have the best out of conference win. I
Yeah,
don't know.
if Clemson hadn't gone on this downhill slide, I think the strength of schedule would look a lot better.
Yeah,
It
for
would
sure.
it would be Clemson that
We
would
would
do
we
you.
would we would be number one if Clemson was ranked. We and Duke didn't fall apart with Riley Leonard. We would be number one.
All these years rooting against Clemson, and the one time you want them to do good, this is when they
They fucking
decide to do
suck.
bad.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. I really don't care. Like I said, as long as we win out, we're making it. There's no way they would leave an undefeated Florida State team out. It's like a 0% chance.
No, Florida State's like if you start at 4, they're basically saying if you win out, you're in.
Yeah. So that I'm cool with it. I mean, people keep underestimating us. Fuck it. Fuck around and find out. We'll catch your ass in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I
as long as you know.
I have complete faith in our offense. Not so much the defense, but
Well, I think the defense is like if you
they're
guys lose,
getting
that's gonna be what's gonna get you.
yeah. It's gonna be our fucking cornerbacks or our running game. I don't know. Our pass rush is solid. Very good pass rush. Cornerbacks hit or miss. Run game, I don't know what the fuck we're doing. I
See,
don't know.
I think Michigan's the team you don't want to play in the playoffs because
I don't want to play
they run
Ohio
the ball
State.
really well.
I don't
And
want to play
Ohio
Ohio
State
State.
also runs the ball really well,
I don't want to play them. I don't
and
want
they
to play
got
them at
Marvin
all.
Harrison Jr.
Like I said, he's unguardable. We ain't got nobody. We'd have to double cover him, and then they would just run the ball.
Like if you guys played Washington, I think you guys would probably beat them pretty convincingly.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see who else is Georgia. I think that's a winnable game from the way it's looking.
Honestly,
It'd
like
be tough.
the only team I don't think we could beat is Ohio State and Oregon. For some
I'm not.
reason, that offense is fucking really, really interesting and complex and fast. And if they could catch our defense off balance like really early, like I don't. And they have a good defense too. So like, if they get out ahead quick, I don't see how we would be able to come back from that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah,
I'm just not as high on Oregon as everybody else is.
yeah,
Like
I guess.
I want to see them like.
And then they fuck. Last time we was in the playoffs, they beat the shit out of us. So there's that too.
Yeah, I guess there's. I don't even know where the bowl games are this year for the playoffs. I don't know which ones. I'm gonna look that up, see which ones they are this year.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because like certain ones you kind of like you don't have a home field advantage, but they're like a
If we
lot
get the
closer to one
Orange
team.
Bowl, that's basically home for us.
Bowl games this year, we got the the Cotton Bowl
It's in Atlanta.
and looks like the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Let's
What,
see.
what is
Let's
that?
see
Where's that
if
one
it
at?
tells me on the college football playoff. Oh, never mind. It's the Rose Bowl
It's
and
California.
the Sugar Bowl. So if you play in the Rose Bowl against Oregon, that's
That's
going to be.
far as fuck.
But Sugar Bowl is going to be a lot more Florida State than
Yeah,
Oregon fans.
for sure. That's a long way either way for both of us to go.
If it was Georgia, Florida State in the Sugar Bowl,
Yeah, it's tough.
ooh,
That,
that's gonna be a
that's
pretty even
home.
crowd. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's gonna
That's
be more Georgia, but like there'll be some Florida State sprinkled through
yeah.
there.
And they've played there before though. Like I don't think we've played there.
Actually, you know what? The Rose Bowl would be bad. Like for
That's
you
the
guys don't want the Rose Bowl because Ohio State and Michigan, like the Big Ten, usually goes to the Rose Bowl if it's not a playoff game. So they've been to the Rose Bowl. Like
yeah,
they
all
know
the
the
time.
environment. Yeah, I'd be not wanting to go to the Rose Bowl. You want to go to the Sugar Bowl.
100%. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't want Ohio State. I don't want Oregon. I'll take anybody else. Yeah, anybody else. I don't at least first game. I'll take either of those two in the championship because at that point, anything can happen. But first game, pass. I'll take Georgia, I'll take Michigan, Washington, Texas, Bama, OU, Ole Miss, Penn State, Missouri, or Louisville. Well, it wouldn't be Louisville, but or LSU.
I just hope we get in. I don't care
Yeah,
who we play once we get in.
yeah. If we play in the championship, holy fuck, that'd be sick.
That'd be
I
crazy.
wouldn't even be mad if we lost. Oh, okay, I take that back. I'd be upset. I'd be very upset if we lost, but I wouldn't be mad. I would accept it.
Yeah, that's how I would be. I mean, if we got in the playoffs and we lost, I'd just accept it. Like we got in, but I feel pretty like if we get to the playoffs, like Venables has been there like 3 times,
Yeah,
and OU's been there like 4 times. So
for sure.
like
You guys are
we're
pretty
pretty built
new
for the
to it.
playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, we won 10 games last year. We're 2 wins away from that, matching our best fucking season in like 10 years. So if we make the ACC championship, and when we win the ACC championship, that's a win for us. That's a win.
It's really weird because Florida State like they have these down years, but then they just randomly go undefeated.
Yeah, it does seem like that. And then like I don't know, man. Next year might be really fucking tough for us because we're losing everybody.
I think if
Everybody.
you guys could like swing like a Cam Rising or something, that would help out a lot. Uh,
Wait,
but the transfer portal, like if you guys win the championship or something,
yeah,
you're probably gonna get all transfer portal guys coming in.
and we have a pretty solid recruiting class. Like I think we're top 10 for recruiting for next year. So I mean we got big recruits coming in. So I mean whether or not they can play as freshmen is a different fucking story. But I don't know. Norvell is a fucking transfer portal guru. Like the dudes we've brought in are just really good players, and they fit the team really well. Like ideally, like what we're looking for is like players that are gonna buy into the team. Like we're not trying to get players that come in and play for themselves like we've normally had. We're getting players that buy into the culture and the school and to play for Florida State, not playing for yourself.
Yeah, I mean that shows because Verse could have easily left last year and been a first round pick, and
Yeah,
he decided to come back, which I thought was crazy.
I did too. And
But he
it
did it.
might have affected his draft stock a little bit. Like he's not as projected high as he was last year. Like he's like the number 2 defensive end this year, I think. But like with the schedule we have coming up, like he should go crazy. Like I think he's sitting at like 4.5 sacks right now. So I don't see how he can't hit 8 with these last couple games.
Maybe he did that on purpose. Like maybe he didn't want to go to as bad of a team, so he's like, I'll let my stock slip a little bit so I could go,
Yeah, maybe
Cowboys or
Caleb
something.
Williams. Kind of seems like what he's doing.
I think Caleb's gonna come back. Like I just have this weird feeling, like because the Cardinals
Wow,
are like completely tanking him. From my understanding, he has like no desire to play for the Cardinals
the
or
Cardinals
the
ain't the Cardinals don't even have the first pick, and I don't know if we talked about this on like I've been preaching this a lot. Everybody that'll fucking listen. If I'm the Bears because they have the Panthers pick, right? Panthers 1 at 6. They're obviously probably gonna have the first pick. So the
Yeah, you're
Bears are
talking
gonna
about
have
trading those, yeah.
yeah trade 100%. Like unless you absolutely do not want Justin Fields, trade that first pick. Like you take somebody's everything. Like one team's I want all your fucking picks, all of them. or you like I want your 1 through 3 this year. I want your 1 through 3 next year. Like that's perfectly reasonable. And then with that other first, which would be like a probably third round or not third, but like the third pick maybe. You could go get whoever the fuck you wanted. You could go probably get Marvin Harrison if he's still there, the best offensive lineman, the best defensive player. Like, or you trade that one too, and you do a similar thing. I want all your shit as much as I can get, and you take all those picks and you draft a whole new fucking team because they need a whole new defense. You need a whole new O line. So that's what I'm doing if I'm the Bears. Fuck Caleb Williams.
I
Because Caleb
feel like
Williams, he's not gonna come in and fucking take the Bears to the playoffs. It's not happening. Not with what they got. It's it's a waste.
I think this narrative that Caleb is going to hop in and be a top 10
It,
quarterback is starting to die out a little bit.
depending what team he goes to, I think he could. If he goes to like, because somebody would have to make a pretty big jump, like because there's teams that are like a quarterback away. You know what I mean? Like the Jets, quarterback away from fucking probably winning the Super Bowl. Like that defense is fucking insane. And they got weapons on offense. If they had Aaron Rodgers, they could be undefeated this year. But so like the Jets don't work out because he's coming back. But like the Saints, quarterback away. I know this is a bit of a stretch, but the Falcons,
Yeah, they just benched Ritter this
yeah,
week.
fucking finally. Um, the Bucks, it's kind of the same team that was there when Brady was there, minus Fournette, Gronk, Brady, and maybe a few pieces on the defense. Quarterback away. Still got Mike Evans. You still got Chris Godwin. Got Rashad White in the backfield. He's solid. Who else? Fucking Vikings, but Kirk
I think the
Cousins.
Vikings would be a great fit for him because he already has played with Addison, and like if they keep Jefferson, he's got two weapons, and he's
That's
it's an indoor stadium, so like the weather is not as much of a factor.
who else? Who else is like a quarterback away? The Cowboys. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm trading all of my picks. Every single pick, go get Caleb Williams. They have a great offensive line, solid receivers. You could maybe pick up another one in free agency. Um, one of the top five defense. That's money. It would slot right in. It would be just fine. Uh, I don't see why he wouldn't be able to take that team to the playoffs every year. Am I wrong or am I just
No,
reaching?
he would be. I think he would maybe be an upgrade over Dak.
Yeah, that
Um,
Dak just doesn't show up in big games. Like
do you think
he's
the 49ers are sold on Purdy like, now that they're 5-3?
no, I
Like,
don't,
because
I don't.
you throw Caleb Williams on the 49ers, like that's probably like an undefeated team right there. Like that's that like I'm not even kidding.
That's risky though, because like they made a huge fucking risk draft and Trey Lance, but they got lucky. Yeah, Purdy took him to the playoffs, then he got hurt. Now he's not playing so hot. So if the 49ers, fuck around, don't make the playoffs, I'm trading up. Fuck it. I mean, the coach's job is probably on the line if Caleb Williams don't work out, but I don't see why not. The Browns, I'm calling the Bears, and I'll give you Deshaun Watson and every pick we got. Steelers, same thing. Kenny Pickett, trash. Uh, no. Yeah, Saints, we already touched on them. Colts, they got Anthony Richardson. Jags are good. Titans, we'll see what Will Levis turns into. The Rams, I'm on the phone. Stafford's got maybe one more year. You could trade everything you got, go get Caleb Williams, let him sit underneath Stafford for a year and see if that works out. Seahawks, Geno Smith ain't it. I'm on the phone
Seahawks are in first place in that division right now.
somehow. Uh, the Raiders, I'm on the phone.
The Raiders was one of the teams that he wants to play for, and they need a quarterback, and they could have a high pick, high
They
enough
they
to where they
only got
could
to move up
trade.
a little bit because
I think the
they
Raiders are probably like the most realistic spot for him right now.
yeah. because they already benched Garoppolo, so they probably ain't winning any more games. But they've already
Yeah,
won. They've already won enough to where they're what's their fucking record?
they're like 2 and
They
something.
got 3-5. So there's the Pats are underneath them, but the Pats are gonna win some games. It's realistically like the Giants. We need to stop fucking around and trying to win games, but we don't need Caleb Williams. So like, what we need to do is get that as high a pick as we can get and trade because it's looking like the Panthers are gonna have that number one pick, but the Bears have it, and the Cardinals. But Kyler Murray's coming back, and they're gonna win some games because he's good. So it's looking like the Panthers and then the Bears and the Giants are like competing for that 1 to 3, but the Bears have two of those picks. So like it's really like the fucking fate of Caleb Williams if he comes out is in the Bears' hands.
Yeah, I mean the
And
Packers could slip down because I'm reading that
oh yeah,
their
they're 2-5.
ownership is not really sold on Jordan Love, so they might
If
go a
if
different
I'm
direction.
Caleb Williams, I'm damn sure not going to the Packers because they got fucking nothing, and
Yeah, no,
they notoriously do not draft your quarterback anything. Like they let Aaron Rodgers just fucking suffer with just Devontae Adams, which is not bad by all means, but like he's fucking asking for more receivers. Draft a fucking receiver, bro. Like what? Just get to fucking do what you want, what he wants. Like he's your guy. He's your franchise quarterback. Like fucking dude, listen to the guy. Come on.
yeah, like is this what you guys wanted? Like to go 2-5 because he left?
Yeah, like
But I thought, like honestly, I thought Jordan Love was gonna be a lot better than he is.
I did
Um,
too. But
I thought he was gonna be really good.
I think they can win this week. I think they play the Vikings. I think they win this weekend. So they would
Vikings
jump.
just picked up Dobbs since
Yeah, but he's got less than a week to learn the fucking playbook.
yeah, they'll
So
have to simplify it a lot, or they might just run with whoever
and
their backup was.
and Justin Jefferson's hurt still. So I don't know. It's looking like it's the Bears and the Giants if we stop fucking around because we somehow decided we wanted to beat the Commanders.
Maybe the Patriots.
Yeah, y'all
I
need
see. I don't think Caleb's gonna want to play for us, so I think I would be fine with us just doing what you
trade.
say, just make
Yeah,
a huge trade. Because
back
I mean,
because
sure, we
some
could different quarterback and more.
because somebody is gonna want him desperately because he is very fucking good. Like he is very very good. Um, I don't know. It could be interesting because there's not a lot of like the good teams that would probably like make that risk. Like no, they got Aaron Rodgers. No, Pats likely. Ravens no. Steelers yeah. Browns maybe. Bengals no. Jags no. Texans no. Depending on how Will Levis plays, no. Colts they got Anthony Richardson, first round pick. The fans would fucking crucify their owner. No. Chiefs, absolutely not. Chargers got Herbert. No. Raiders, yes. Broncos, yes. No. Cowboys should, but
Yeah,
they probably won't. Sam Howell's perfectly fine. The Commanders don't need to sell the fucking farm to go get him. That would be stupid. The Giants, we don't fucking need him. We need literally everything else. So it wouldn't make sense for us to draft him. So we need to trade everything or trade to get as much as we possibly can. Lions, no. Vikings, yes. Packers, yes. Bears. So like NFC North, they all need a quarterback other than the Lions. Yes, yes, yes. So the entire NFC South needs a quarterback.
well, I would say the Panthers are fine with
Yeah,
Bryce
I guess they
Young.
got Bryce Young. Yeah, I forgot.
He
But they
has,
don't have
and
to,
it
but
sucks because he's fucked. Because like they have nothing to draft for him. Nobody
exactly.
wants to like no free agents want to go to Carolina.
And I would say the entire NFC West could potentially make a move. So there's like three entire fucking divisions that could make a huge jump blockbuster trade. I just don't know like how greedy the Bears are potentially going to try to get. Like if they're not going to get him, like do they want picks and players? Do they want a first and players? Do they want all your picks? Like if I would just take the picks, just take the picks, all of them.
I think they'll keep one and draft Marvin Harrison probably.
Yeah, because DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison would be fucking lethal, but they don't have an offensive line, so like it's kind of just counterproductive. Like they need a lot of picks so they can pick linemen and defense to they might not all hit, but they could get lucky
Or maybe they could get some offensive linemen in
in the
free
free
agency.
agency. Yeah,
Like,
that's
hey, we got Justin Fields. We're about to get Marvin Harrison. We got DJ Moore. Like, you guys should sign
we got
on
an
and protect
offense.
them.
Yeah, if the goddamn Giants draft an offensive lineman with our first pick, I'm done. I'm so done. Like we need to stop drafting linemen. We cannot hit. We've drafted offensive linemen for like the last fucking 10 years. We cannot hit on a lineman. Stop fucking drafting them. We just wasting the top 5 picks on offensive linemen, and they suck.
Just pull out your checkbook and sign a
Holy
good one in free
fuck,
agency.
dude! It's and we did. We went and got I want to say fucking one of you guys' linemen. The fuck's his name? Andrew Thomas. Was he? Did he play for y'all? Where the fuck did he come from?
It,
We
it
got
sounds like he. I think he did actually. I might be wrong.
nah, we got him in the first round pick. We got somebody from somebody.
Let's see. Let me read the names.
Um,
Oh, Evan. No, Evan Neal was your guys' first round pick a couple of years ago. Yeah, I don't really recognize any of these
we got
guys'
somebody.
arts.
Who the fuck did we get? I might not even be on the team anymore, but they all fucking suck. We've ran like a different combination of offensive linemen every week, and all of our quarterbacks are just getting massacred.
That reminds me
Tyrod
of
Taylor's hurt. Fucking Daniel Jones got hurt. We had
yeah.
DeVito threw like one completion the entire game against the Jets. So we're fucked. We're fucked. We need to trade Saquon for as much as we can get, trade back our pick for as much as we can get, and then you just pray to God.
No, looking at this roster, it's awful. Like,
Yeah, our team sucks, bro. We
and then
suck.
there's just so many injuries right next to like everybody's names.
We have so many holes like on like everywhere. The defense isn't great. Like they're okay, but like there's just we just got nothing.
I mean, what's crazy is though, like watching like the Giants draft, it always looks good. Like on draft night, like
Yeah, you're
every
like, oh, okay.
like I remember that. Yeah, the year you guys drafted Evan Neal and KT on defense, I was like, that's a
That's a good pick.
solid first round. That looks great.
Like
I guess
Evan Neal from
Evan
Alabama,
Neal
sure.
is Evan Neal. I guess not working out.
None of them are. They all fucking suck. We were on a third string quarterback. That's how bad the O line is because they both got hurt.
Yeah, that's rough out
So
here. It's like
it's
an
hard.
OU's offensive line. We rotate offensive linemen. Like we have like an 8-man rotation at offensive line.
It's just trash. It's just trash. I don't know. I'm so done with the NFL, like just in general.
I honestly like don't really. I watched it
It's
last time.
fucking boring. It's
It's not as
becoming very
entertaining.
boring.
It's my least favorite league to watch right now. Um, and
Yeah,
football is my favorite sport. So I mean, that's like saying a lot that I don't even want to watch the NFL. I'd rather watch like basketball or something over the NFL.
exactly. It's just depressing. The draft is fun. I love the draft. It's my
The
favorite part of it.
draft's
It's my
cool.
favorite part of the NFL year.
It's kind of a mix of like both
Until it lets me down.
college. Yeah, but yeah, I think we're kind of at the end of our episode. Um,
Yep.
had a longer one.
Went off on a little bit of a tangent.
Subscribe to us. We're about to hit 200. Help us get to 200. We're at 188 right now, so we just need like 12 of you to subscribe.
Yeah, we'll definitely hit 200 before the season's over.
Yeah,
We
easily.
we might hit 250.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
So
then
we'll catch y'all next week.
yeah, roll tide.